Healing in World of Warcraft is a wild time. You have ping-ponging health bars, required knowledge of damage patterns, and that stupid DPS who asks you for 1 heal after they die with 2 defensives and a health potion available. And in the last 2 seasons, I've done a 0 to hero challenge where I take a character from a completely fresh to an arbitrary skull or gold. The first season, this challenge was on my elemental shaman. Last season, the challenge was on a brewmaster monk. And well, this season, we have a priest, a holy priest. Healing as a role is one that is very dynamic. You don't really have a set job on a per dungeon or even on a per pull basis. In some pulls, they actually require insane healing throughput, where some pulls are completely free. Very frequently are you required to do jobs that other players just do not want to do. And with that being the case, there is frequently a narrative that healers, well, they are boosted. Healers, of course, do not find this narrative to be very true. As somebody who frequently plays DPS and played a tank to the top 1% last season, I decided that this season, I was going to figure out my own thoughts on the difficulty of healer. So, just how far can I go? No friends, no carries, it's just me and my priest facing the challenges that may await me in Silvermoon's LFG simulator with the key I rolled myself. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'm sure you can see the total runtime on this video and just guess how long it took to film, script, edit, do the voiceovers for, and just put together. Obviously, it takes a lot of time each and every single season to be able to do this kind of stuff. And if you enjoyed it, it would mean the world to me if you would continue to support the video. Of course, you can check all the links down in the description as well if you want some more of my content. In addition to that as well, there's also a Patreon link and a Twitch link if you could throw me a sub or subscribe to my Patreon. Both of those things would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's jump back into the video. Okay, so in this challenge, I'm going to be taking a freshly leveled priest that's brand new to Keystone Myth achievement bracket. This happens at 3400 and consists of largely 16s, but it could be any real combo of 15s and 17s. However, there is a catch. I'm going to be doing it completely solo. This means no help from friends, no carries, no teaming up from anybody from my streamer community, and I also unlinked my characters from Raider.io, meaning that it would appear to everybody looking at my character as if he was a fresh character. I also went ahead and privated my Raider.io account so nobody could even see the character. And so ideally, every key I run will be through the LFG system with complete strangers. Previously, my shaman, he took me around 45 hours of slash play to achieve a similar-ish goal. And my brewmaster, well, that guy took me 95 hours to achieve this goal because that was really hard. Will healer be much faster? I think is kind of an interesting question here. And there's also an additional element at play. I decided to do all of this on stream during a subathon where I'm committed to playing 16 plus hours a day on stream. What this means is that there will be inevitably people that don't really understand what the challenge is, or they'll just kind of stream snipe me, not understanding that I'm not looking for help. During the duration of this challenge, I did put up a queue blocker whenever I was in queue and requested players to not sign up if they're from the chat. I also did accept players with a bit more skepticism than was probably necessary. Ultimately, I'm not trying to make this the hardest version of this challenge as possible. If I did, I would probably do it like on a fresh account, off stream, without gold, only pugging into other people's keys. That is not what this challenge is though. And I make the rules, so I decided to do it on stream for fun. I'll end up giving myself some gold to craft some profession gear and that kind of thing. I'm not buying BOEs. It's really just a for fun stream challenge. And now, with all those rules set, let's see if it's possible to climb the Mythic Plus ladder all the way up to 3400. You may ask why I selected Holy Priest of all things for this challenge. I decided to pick Holy for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's the lowest represented healer in the top 2000 keys, so picking something deemed to be quote unquote bad is kind of interesting for a challenge like this. And second, well, Angel Form's kind of iconic, so it's probably pretty good for a YouTube thumbnail. There's also kind of the question of what is my experience like as a healer? Having played the game competitively for about 10 years at this point, I'd say that I have very minimal experience healing. I've attached a clip even of the last time I healed. This was in a little known tournament called the Mythic Dungeon Invitational, where I was playing a Resto Druid. And you might ask what were our results, and well, we came in 8th place in the NA regional, and we ended up 4-manning a dungeon. So that was maybe not my proudest moment, I must admit. And after that, I hung it up. I decided to retire healing. I decided I was going to stick to DPS. And so I basically haven't healed in any real capacity since 2018. So I'd say that I'm quite inexperienced and I've never really played Priest either. So that's where we begin with the Priest, the hero of our story. All right, we got all the logistical mumbo jumbo out of the way. Now it's time to start keying. Kind of. As a 168 item level Holy Priest, I have a lot of pre-key work to get done before I can possibly sniff a dungeon. But I have a plan for what to do gearing wise. I have a 2-phase plan, the gearing phase and the pushing phase. This season, the gearing phase should be pretty quick, and you can out-heal dungeons fairly undergeared compared to what is typically seen as common as either a DPS or a tank. So that should actually come to my advantage. After we end up concluding with the gearing phase, then we will enter the pushing phase, where I start to push for the 16s and 17s, but that's a problem for future me after I get geared. So with that explained, and before the gearing commences, I must blindly copy talents from the top ranked guy on Raider.io, set up my keybinds, and modify my cooldown manager / UI to make it fit to my liking. This is where also people would probably stop and read a guide in some capacity to figure out what their buttons do, but I decide that I'm just gonna wing it, feel it out, and I'll read a guide later if necessary. Okay, so I got my UI, I got my talent solved. Let's get into some of the fastest gearing that Midnight has to offer. Warbound until equipped gear. Basically just getting random gear that I had available from my other characters. I had a bunch of champion track level nonsense. That pushes me up to 196 eye level, an impressive ramp from the 168 I was mere moments ago. And Midnight is the fastest gearing expansion ever. And why might you ask? Well, Delves and Tens both give hero track gear and are so incredibly easy this season. It should be the fastest gearing journey yet. And my plan for gearing is really simple. I'm going to start off this challenge by doing the 4 bountiful delves on tier 11 with coffer keys. So my first task that I have to do is round up coffer keys from random weekly activities like AFKing the Abundance, AFKing the Stormarian Assault, completing world quests for my cash, you know, normal stuff to be able to get coffer keys. And with my coffer keys in hand, I head on into the Dark Way level 11 with Tank Valera. 15 minutes and a few close calls later, I obtain a hero track chest piece, champion main hand, and a lot of crests. Not too bad for a first clear. Something that's also kind of notable is I have access to the Delver's Journey on level 9, which is why I'm doing tier 11 delves. So what the Delver's Journey level 9 does for you is it spawns an NPC at the end of the delve that lets you buy champion track gear for undercoins or hero track gear for a secondary currency that you only get from bountiful delves. I have some undercoins from other characters that I transfer over for high value pieces that I see. So I complete the 4 delves in a bit over an hour of time, and I have snapped my fingers and I've spawned in at 228 item level. This is also the point in time where most people, including myself, would go and pick up any of the champion track renown gear that they need from the beginning of the expansion. The trinket from the Void Storm, well, that thing is really good for healers as it turns out, and the belt from Herondar are both pretty sizable upgrades and free upgrades for my character at this point in time. This trinket from the Void Storm is going to be something that I'm going to be wearing throughout the duration of this challenge. And so with all the delves being done that I can finish today, all 4 of those bountifuls, and at 228 item level, what's next for me? Well, it's time to head on into the first dungeon of the series, a +2 Pit of Sauron. At this point in time, I have 0 knowledge as to how to play Holy Priest. All I have is my experience healing Valera in delves, and we roll up to the first pull with our ragtag comp of a Blood Death Knight, an Enhancement Shaman, a Devourer Demon Hunter, and a Demonology Warlock with me, the Shining Star on Holy Priests. The first pull commences. First global dungeon power infusion as is tradition, then I walk around for 2 seconds, missing some globals for no reason. I heal the tank 1 time. He's a Blood DK, he probably didn't need healing, and I am straight button mashing to the point where I randomly GS myself at full health, and most of the pack was already dead. So was that GS a waste? I don't know, it's really for you to decide. And even though the first pull was a little bit of a meme, at the end of the day, it is still a +2, and it went pretty smooth, all things considered. I had to out heal my Enhancement Shaman face tanking the Glacial Overload on Garfrost and some other random nonsense that was happening in the dungeon, but nothing is lethal in a +2 as it turns out, and I also have my priorities straight. I press Power Infusion on cooldown, as I'm supposed to do, so I would classify this as a successful dungeon. And maybe smooth was a little bit of an overstatement. There was a bit of a problem in the middle of the run as I incorrectly had typed my mouse over macros wrong to the point where I was only ever healing myself and was not able to heal anybody in my party, which is pretty bad. People seem to be dying. No, they're definitely alive. Nobody's dying. Nobody's even... Why did my GS just go on me? There's something wrong with my macros. I wonder if I f***ed up my macros and all of my abilities are just being cast on myself. That would make so much sense, by the way. But fortunately enough, all of Holy Priest's healing cleaves, otherwise this would have been pretty catastrophic. I do get them fixed in the middle of the run, however, and we time the key with 19 seconds remaining on the 3 chest timer, allowing me to go from a measly +2 to a proud +5. And I get a massive reward from this pit, a brand new cloak, +50 item levels on my cloak, propelling me to 236 item level. Not bad for a 5-hour-old character, if I do say so myself. So something you may have noticed was that it was incredibly easy for me to get into a group as a 230-something item level Holy Priest. How was that possible, you might ask? Well, if you take anything away from today's video, I want you to know that this is a social experiment. And how far can you take a turbo undergear character by listing your own key? Listing your own key is by far the most overpowered thing in this game, and people refuse to do it because they're afraid of their key depleting. Keys are meant to be depleted, and I 100% guarantee my own spot in every single group, every single time. Additionally, Additionally, I cut down the time sitting in Silver Moon, spam applying to groups a tremendous amount. Now, there is a huge issue where the IO and item level that LFG deems as necessary to get accepted into a group, especially for weekly keys, is far greater than what is actually required. Thus, listing your own key is OP. Now, I do know that the concept of your key going down a level to a level that you don't need is annoying, but I promise the advantages of volume of keys and controlling the other 4 members of your party outweighs this significantly. This is true for weekly keys. This is true for medium level push keys. If you're pushing for the 1% title, this is also completely true for that as well. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now let's continue with the video. Okay, so macros fixed, +5 in hand, and looking at my gear, I think I'm going to be crafting pretty much on cooldown during this challenge. I have 8 sparks available at this point in time, so I can craft 4 pieces pretty much whenever I get enough crests. So with that 5 in hand, we go to Nexus Point Zenith +5, and honestly, nothing eventful really happens. I've now gone 2 dungeons in a row where we've had 0 deaths. Maybe I am kind of built for healing after all, and I will say that I still have absolutely no clue what's going on rotationally on Holy Priest. I'm seriously just kind of butt mashing at this point just to try to feel out the spec itself. I've noticed that pretty much all of my healing buttons do AoE healing in some capacity, so I can't really feel out the rhythm of the specialization. I'm just kind of pressing buttons almost seemingly at random. I'll press Flash Heal as like a single target heal, and Prayer of Healing as an AoE heal. It's kind of really all I understand at this point in time. Occasionally my Flash Heal also procs and has this additional cast called Benediction, but I can't figure out why. Now, reading is a hard challenge in and of itself, but then we actually get to the real hard challenge of the series, +7 Windrunner Spire. And the first pull of this dungeon is by far the hardest that you're gonna face in Windrunner Spire. We have 2 stewards putting up 2 magic spell dots per mob, and 2 magus doing a salvo AoE on our entire party. This pull tends to last about 30 to 45 seconds normally, as you'll bloodlust it, and basically just commit to it dies or we die. And let me just say, I have never seen that pack live a minute 30 seconds until today. Our tank just tanked the mobs inside the magus shield. What this shield does is it gives the mobs an entire 99% DR, making them virtually unkillable. The mobs were effectively immune until I realized that I should have life gripped my tank out of the bubble. And it is truly a miracle that we did not wipe that pull. And we trek on throughout the dungeon and we encounter our first real death of the series. We had our rogue die to no kick going off on the steward. Tragic. Then we make it to Ember Dawn, where we had our DPS eating a lot of tornadoes, which fortunately enough on a 7, I'm able to out-heal it. That was until my Demon Hunter got stunned by a tornado and then stood in the frontal from the boss during the intermission, and he ended up dying. And also, coming off the first boss, our timer, it's unbelievably sketchy. It's looking like we're trying to time a 23, but for some reason we're in a 7. A 10-minute first boss split is not optimal. And checking the damage meter, my DPS are doing 80,000 DPS combined to the first boss. It's all good. We keep on chugging along, and I have something that I can only describe as healer movement occur. Now, what healer movement is whenever you do something so egregiously bad with your movement, and it can only be described as I was looking at my party frames, where I get the behemoth debuff on me, then I proceed to press no other buttons other than power infusion, let myself die, showcasing the angel for the first time in this series. Now, you better screenshot this because this will not be happening frequently. But beyond the stupid healer movement, nothing eventful happens until the last boss, where my team very much tries to throw this dungeon into oblivion. Many people get stunned and die to the ring on the final boss of all things, not using the feathers to jump over the wave. But we fortunately enough, even with all of this catastrophic BS, we fortunately timed the dungeon. It was quite close. And taking a look at the damage meter, our mage, he led the pack, 67,000 DPS, with our Devourer in second place at 52k, our Protection Paladin at 50,000, and our Rogue at 45k. Now, we were quite slow for obvious reasons, but fortunately enough, that's the minimum amount of damage that you need to be able to time the dungeon on a 7. And with that dungeon being in time, I'm also able to bum the offhand off the mage from that group, upgrading my 220 item level blue to a 259 hero track offhand. Not bad. Now that was a struggle of a dungeon, but that's kind of to be expected whenever you're doing 7s. Things will hopefully pick up dramatically in terms of quality of groups whenever I get to 10s. And fortunately enough, my group quality did increase pretty quickly. Even in the 8 Nexus Point Zenith, while it wasn't the cleanest thing ever, we were going significantly faster than the Windrunner Spire. Now the highlight of this Nexus Point was at the very end, where we accumulated 5 deaths to the aggressively illegal 3 Light Rot pull with a lingering image. I don't really know what my tank was thinking with this pull. Now I do imagine that this pull is healable by my character, just not by me piloting my character. If we had somebody that was, you know, competent and capable, it would probably have been doable, just not by me. But at the same time, we +2 this Nexus Point Zenith. There's no real need to stress about it too much. Okay, and by +2ing an 8, we have made it to 10s. So we have to now start considering the brand new to patch 12.0.5 Nebulous Void Core bonus rolls. Yes, they brought them back. And when I did this challenge, this was the first week that the bonus rolls had come out for context. So I only had 2 bonus rolls to use during this challenge. This means that I need to strategically think about what is going to be my most valuable bonus rolls. So the first thing to be looking at are 2-handed weapons. The alternative here is to craft a staff, but I'd obviously prefer to save 4 sparks since I only have 8 possible sparks for this challenge. Another thing to consider is that main hand and offhand combos are incredibly crest inefficient as well, so those are kind of off the table. And with all of that being said, I'm picking basically between Algothar Academy, Nexus Point Zenith, See the Triumvirate, and Skyreach. And so for me, I'm kind of looking at landmine pieces of gear where what is the worst case scenario gear-wise? Main hands and offhands are obviously horrible. These are completely dead pieces of gear. There are some trinkets that can also be unwearable. Those are kind of the landmine pieces. And staff, like I said earlier, is going to be my best option, but any myth track tier is probably my second best option. And something I consider is, does this dungeon have a few pieces of tier that I can catalyze? And so with that being the case, I've narrowed it down to 2 dungeons. It's basically between Nexus Point Zenith and Algothar Academy. Both of these dungeons have 3 pieces of possible tier, where what is my worst bonus roll in Nexus Point Zenith? It's a cloak. And then what is my worst bonus roll from Algothar Academy? That's an offhand, which would be catastrophic, whereas the cloak from Zenith is pretty bad, but it's not that bad. Now, with all that being the case, I land on Nexus Point Zenith, which I suspect you could have swayed me to go to Algothar as well, because I think the gear as a whole is a little bit better from Algothar, but this was just my thought process, especially since I only had 2 bonus rolls available. So now I have a plan for my bonus rolls, which I'm just going to end up using whenever I make it into the Nexus Point Zenith. In the meantime, though, I have a +10 Seat of the Triumvirate. This is going to be the first real test of my healing, where Seat is a pretty healing intensive dungeon, where the first 3 bosses are quite throughput intensive, with the Rift Wardens and the Subjugator trash mobs being pretty painful. Firing up the Seat, this immediately goes about as poorly as it possibly can. My tank takes charges to the back by the Shadowguard champions, immediately explodes before I can even do anything. We also have a full wipe, and then my tank types in party chat, "Sorry, Lua error." I'd like to shout out the Midnight add-on changes for bringing me that wipe. And this is not encouraging for the first pull of the dungeon. It's like fine because Seat is a very lenient key, but it's not fine because then we have another tank death, the 3 champion charges to the back, bringing us all the way up to 11 deaths in the first 2 minutes of the dungeon. This is quite concerning for our ability to type this key, but nobody throws up the abandon vote, thank God, because I think that we probably would have passed it because the vibes were terrible. We continue on and we down the first boss without further incident. After downing the first boss, we make it onto the insane heal check mobs in the second area, the Rift Wardens. The Rift Wardens plus Rift Stalker combinations are incredibly dangerous, and I find out firsthand how dangerous they can be as I get bled by the Rift Stalker and then immediately die to Rift Warden AoE. Not a desperate prayer or fade in sight. So we keep on chugging along, killing off the other Rift Wardens without any more problems, and then we make it onto the second boss. An incredibly difficult encounter that requires insane amounts of throughput, where the cat leaps and the AoE dots are just very dangerous. And fortunately enough, I do have enough AoE healing on my 7-hour-old Holy Priest where we power through the challenges of the second boss. Then my tank takes fate into his own hands and tries to wipe the group once more with a body pull of a double bound Void Caller pack into 3 Void-infused destroyers? This is an insane amount of AoE damage. I don't really know what he was thinking, and it puts stupid dots on the entire group. And watching this VOD back, myself, the Hunter, and the Warlock were all on the brink of death. I first global press Apotheosis and have to try my absolute hardest to keep us alive, where we're able to survive the pull, and I am mentally preparing for the difficulty that is attached to the third boss. Viceroy Nazar, Mass Void Infusion AoE, Tentacles channeling Mind Flay on the entire party, getting knocked back 50 yards away from the boss and needing to run in within 10 seconds. A challenge fit for a Holy Priest. And if that wasn't bad enough, I have to constantly be dodging balls all the time. A truly terrible fight for a priest. Fortunately enough, we have a lot of damage, and I mean like a lot of damage, to where we only get 2 rounds of mechanics, where the last collapsing void AoE, it was brutal, but at the same time, everybody has their defenses. Our entire party drops to 30% HP, but we are powering through Viceroy Nazar, and we are making it to the final boss. And taking a glance at the timer as well, I think we're on pace to chest this absolute train wreck of a dungeon. But this wouldn't be a 0 to hero without a little bit of adversity, and Lura is unfortunately diabolical with my group, because they are consistently missing the discordant beams on the runes. Like, I don't really even know what's going on. They only hit 1 rune during the first set of the beams, meaning that we had 5 runes pulsing debuffs on us consistently. For context, we should have only had 3. This forces me to pop all of my healing cooldowns and just absolutely pray that I could keep us topped up enough to make it through the second and now the third set of beams. Fortunately enough, I was able to keep us alive, and with Bloodlust plus offensive cooldowns during the damage amp, we 1-phased the boss, 2-chesting a key that probably did not deserve to be 2-chested. I'm also handsomely rewarded with a 3 out of 6 hero track belt and a 3 out of 6 BIS hero track ring. Absolutely blessed. And with that ring, I replaced my 165 item level ring with a 266, a casual 101 item level increase on that slot. I'm all the way up to 246 item level. Easy life. So things, they're going pretty easy so far, but at the same time, I'm still kind of button mashing, and I haven't really been exposed by any keystone at any level yet. However, plus 12, this could actually be the real difference as we get the first Skyreach of the series. And with plus 12 Skyreach in the bag, I'm interested in hearing the thoughts of my friend and yours, AUTOMATICJAK.
This is 12. Okay, cool. All right, I got your clips. Hey Jack, I've been working really hard on Holy Priest and wanted to get your thoughts on my performance so far. All right, let's see what he's got.
We gotta get the loss on CD, bro. When did you think 90 in this character?
It's good so
what's my slash
far.
blade?
He's building up the Lightweaver stacks.
I have 8 hours of slash blade right now.
Not bad for 8 hours.
I dinged yesterday.
Still got like your Halo. Wait,
Get knocked out.
Watch out.
Oh.
Watch out. Okay. He still has his Halo if he needs to. He's probably not that geared.
Oh, that bird.
wait. What was he doing?
Right.
What was he doing? Did he just go AFK? Just mental AFK?
Oh.
He just mental AFK'd and started pondering. He's like, yeah, I have been playing this for 8 hours. What is the next button that I'm pressing? He literally just, he sits back.
Oh,
panic!
that bird.
Panic!
Are we 12 hours?
I love that.
Out of yeah, GG.
Oh, rips the Halo. We'd like to see it.
No!
Oh, man, he's getting ready for the damage and everything too. He was doing a good job. He already had his like Lightweaver stacks. He had Halo, and he was about to get Apotheosis and everything. He was hard chilling. Oh, here's the repel too.
No!
Man, I still haven't changed over from playing Drakthir, man. I've been playing Drakthir in Raid Prog, and I never ended up swapping because there's always some shit like this that happens. Oh my god.
And as it turns out, my team didn't necessarily need me for that following pull, and we make it onto the first boss, and I am just terrified of getting knocked off the platform by Gale Surge. I need to position myself very carefully to make sure that the knockback will not send me flying off the platform, and I have to clutch up, and I do not get knocked off the platform, thank goodness. Then, we make it into the second boss room. So earlier my tank typed in chat, I'm using you as test fodder, sorry, which I had absolutely no idea what he meant by that. And then I figured it out, as he did an MDI pull into the second boss, going and grabbing the birds from the third boss room and pulling it into the second boss. I have a tank in my 12 doing an MDI pull in my dungeon. Maybe this is what people who complain on the competitive WoW subreddit mean whenever they say I have tanks in my 12s doing MDI pulls. The good news is somehow we lived that insanely difficult pull, and we even let a beam go unimpeded into the boss. That gave him 14 stacks, healed him to full, and then the boss exploded with the supernova, almost one-shotting our entire group. A near wipe. Good news though is that we win the second boss, and we were absolutely cooking the timer now due to our absolutely insane strategies. Down the third boss, pretty much without incident. The Warlock doesn't drop a gate, and I have to RP walk through the wind maze. That was tragic. And then we easily dispatch the final area trash. We are on pace to 2-chest this key. Would be an insane series of events to have a 14 within a few hours of the challenge starting, but we have the final boss. A pretty annoying challenge as the boss keeps putting scary dots onto 3 players over and over again, and my healing throughput is pretty bad. And I keep consistently falling behind HPS-wise, and I do not press Fate or Desperate Prayer. I do not have those abilities in my arsenal. I basically just power heal through the dots. My group doesn't beam the entire party. We kill the birds before the cast down happens and people get thrown off the ledge, and we are able to time this key. And we time it +2, sending to Priest all the way up to a 14, mere hours after the challenge has began. And after this most recent dungeon, I've come to an important realization that I probably should have made a few hours ago. I need to press Prayer Mending a lot more. To explain it to those who have never played Holy Priest, Prayer Mending is a hot, you end up putting it onto players. It has 5 stacks and it jumps to an ally 4 times as they are taking damage. That part is kind of whatever about the entire thing. The part that actually is what matters is that it activates your Apex talent, Benediction. So Prayer Mending has a chance whenever it heals to convert my flash heal into one of the strongest heals in my kit, Benediction. Benediction has all the same modifiers as flash heal, except it AoE heals instead of being a single target nuke. This is a group nuke now for healing, and it will basically top your entire party when pressed. Prayer Mending sometimes can be hard to prioritize during moments of super high HPS, but it is a very valuable ability to use. And I realize that I've not been pressing it nearly enough, almost at all actually, and I moved Prayer Mending onto my cooldown manager, and hopefully this helps me press it more than the sparingly amount that I was pressing it before. All right, 14 is in the bags. And unfortunately, we reached the first deplete in the challenge. Nexus Point Zenith 14. We've now reached the point in the challenge where depletes happen with a few mistakes, unless you actually have God tier DPS. Unfortunately, on the second pull of the dungeon, nobody's kicking Umbral Bolt. Everybody has the Engineer Snare. My tank is taking unhealable amounts of damage. He's also stacking up the massive heal absorb on his character from the defenders. Then, if that wasn't all terrible, he body pulls a trash pack behind him, gets meleeed in the back, immediately dies, and then he wipes the group in the process. After this happens, we hit what I can only describe as the abandon any percent world record, abandoning in 1.5 seconds. I was trying to count the frames for this, but I couldn't with how Twitch's VODs work, but it was 1.5 seconds, a truly impressive showing in Depriest's first 14 with an any percent world record. So with that showing in the 14, I decide that I don't really want to bother with 13s right now. I think 12 is maybe a little bit more my speed. So I dropped the key 1 level to get some gear. This is also a dungeon that I want a bonus roll. So completing it on anything that's like a 10 and above is the main objective. But obviously I want to time the key. So like we're still kind of in the gearing phase a little bit where the gear is going to be the most important thing. And then once I feel like I'm appropriately geared, then we'll start to push for the 16s, the 17s, potentially even the 15s. So we go back into the 12 and we time the key pretty much without issue. Unfortunately, we don't 2-chest it, but we get a clean 3-death run and that is fantastic. And it's time to bonus roll. Can we get a drum roll, please? And I get a cloak. A cloak. A cloak? What do you mean I get a cloak? Well, if we run the replay about what I said earlier about landmine gear. And so with that being the case, I've narrowed it down to 2 dungeons. It's basically between Nexus Point Zenith and Algothar Academy. Both of these dungeons have 3 pieces of possible tier, where what is my worst bonus roll in Nexus Point Zenith? It's a cloak. The cloak was the only thing I said that I didn't need. Tragic. Well, I can't dwell on my brand new Mythtrack cloak too much, I guess. I get a Pit of Saron 13 out of that Zenith, and I decide to drop that pit to a 12. Unfortunately, I haven't seen an Algothar, Mysaro's Caverns, or Magister's Terrace yet. Those dungeons would be massive value for my score, and basically just allow me to snap my fingers and conjure up my 4 set. So we are at the point of time whenever I did this, where I need a 2k score for enough catalyst charges to actually procure my tier set. So getting that 2000 score was the prerequisite for me to even be able to activate my 4 set and get the catalyst rolling. So I do the pit, and to round out my day 1, I'm just kind of bouncing around to 11s and 12s, trying to get as many crests, hero track gear, IO, or potential catalyst charges as possible. Reps are also pretty critically important due to letting myself feel more and more comfortable healing the content. I'm also continuing to understand better where the difficulty points are. Obviously, I know from doing high keys where the large sources of damage intake are, but where are the pull-to-pull difficulty points? Those are kind of the things that I needed to see. Basically, I comfortably time a 12 Pit of Saron, deplete the hell out of a Nexus Point Zenith 12 in tragic fashion, narrowly time a 17 death 11 Nexus Point Zenith. That was ridiculous. And then we get fantastic news. You know, Nexus Point Zenith, I was using both of my bonus rolls in that dungeon. I bonus rolled a Mythtrack 2-handed staff. Even though I got absolutely punished by the cloak, the bonus roll was not great. The second one, very fortunate. So the staff, it is haste mastery, and it is the complete opposite of the crit versatility that Holy Priest wants. It is still a Mythtrack weapon, and notably, what it does is it saves me 4 sparks that I can instead allocate to a lower item level slots whenever I'm crafting in the future. That is a really, really big deal for crest saving and just gear progression purposes. So things are honestly going absolutely fantastic for me today. And then I experience the first mistake of the series, and I make the first mistake of the series, let me say. I decide that I want my tier set now before going to sleep. So the quickest way to get 2k score is plugging into other people's keys. It's that Mysaro's Caverns. It's that Algothar Academy that I need. It's that Magister's Terrace that I need. So plugging into those would be the quickest. I know this is a mistake. I did the same thing last season on tank, and that wasted so much time. I got stuck in Floodgate for like forever. It's convenient, but my success rate whenever I start to plug other people's keys is so low, and the time that gets wasted for waiting for other people is so insanely bad that it is just completely not worth my time. And this goes about as expected whenever I start to plug other people's keys. I queue for a 10 Algothar Academy, and for some reason, a guy puts in a 14. I don't know why. What did I sign up for? We wiped the first pull of the dungeon on a 14. The tank says he's gonna lower it, and then for some reason, he lowers it to a 9. Like, I couldn't even make this up. This is actually just an insane waste of time. Then I queue for a 10 Mysaro's Caverns. Again, I just need completion. I just need to get score so I can catalyze tier. I sign up for this group and it's titled plus 10. Relaxed. This is a carry. And the note read that the person who owned the key was helping an undergeared friend. And this seems like a fine group. The leader's fairly high IO. This should be pretty easily timeable regardless of the situation. Key starts. Bloodlust is pressed. Tank dies to white swings on the first pull of the dungeon and we wipe. The tank stops moving, and then he proceeds to begin typing. And he types, "You guys, the shaman, he ain't even DPSing. This is like a 4-man group." Like, dude, why am I signing up for other people's keys? Okay, so then I make this mistake a third time because, I don't know, stupidity maybe. I sign up to an 11 Algothar Academy, and we're in there, and we deplete this key. We have 22 deaths, and we are 12 minutes over the timer whenever we finally complete this dungeon. We'd like wipe to the last boss, we wipe to Veximus, and this is an absolute calamity. And I didn't even get score because we were too far over the timer. So I didn't even need to complete it in time. I literally just needed score, and the fact that I didn't even get score doesn't allow me to even make my 4 set. I have just wasted 2 hours for whatever reason. And next time I decide to pug keys for a 0 to hero, please somebody come in my chat and link me this part of the video because I need to talk some sense into myself. I cannot be pugging other people's keys. It's too volatile. My success rate is so much lower, and I experience just the worst shit imaginable. I don't even understand how it proceeds to happen to me. Like last season, Floodgate, I was literally just trapped in there for 4 hours trying to get Resilient 14 for whatever reason. That was a complete waste of time too. Anyway, 3-hour detour aside, I end day 1 at 256 item level. I don't have 4 set, but I feel like I'm ramping. My player skill, it's getting better. I'm becoming more and more comfortable with Holy Priest, and it plays honestly kind of similar to ranged DPS. I'm actually enjoying the playstyle of what Holy Priest has to offer. I'm all the way up to 1707 IO, and that is at 13 hours of slash played. Not too shabby. All right, so while day 1, gearing day, I wake up the next morning, clear mind. Today, this is the push day, and I start the day off strong, plus 2ing an 11 Sky Reach, and I'm handsomely rewarded with hero track pants. I even get told nice heals. You need to tell your healer that they're doing a nice job. The healers in the tanks, you know what? They need more positive affirmation to stroke their ego a little bit. And this, it also gives me the Magister's Terrace I desperately needed for my 4 set. On top of this as well, once I get my 4 set, I can also start accumulating more Catalyst charges, so I'm heavily incentivized to just immediately send it, even if it's on champion track gear, even if it's on gear that I would potentially even replace. So we start the 13 Magister's Terrace, and we have this dominant comp of Brewmaster Monk, Shadow Priest, Warlock, and then me on a Holy Priest. And I'm looking back at this comp, recording it in the future, and I don't know what in the world I was thinking for this dungeon. I should be working smarter, not harder, but for some reason, I decided to invite the most poverty comp of all time. Now, some people would look at this and be like, Bloodlust versus Drums. I don't think that Bloodlust versus Drums is like a really big piece. Like, I think it's honestly whatever. The issue that I have for this is I'm picking fairly squishy specs versus the Runic Glaive Dot that is in this dungeon, which has a very high chance of heal checking me, losing us the key. So our comp is quite suboptimal for DePriest's current skill level. So we start the dungeon. The first pull, easily dealt with. The second pull goes down without a hitch. Even though we got all these dispels and they're all going out, it was fairly easy for me to heal through it. And we keep on pushing through, making it to the first boss room where we encounter the first death of this dungeon. I do think I have an advantage healing due to doing high keys, and so I'm a little bit more acutely aware of when the group is in danger. This is good for me pressing my personal defensives, and this is also really good for me, you know, whenever I'm pressing my group-wide externals, whether I'm pre-hemming abilities, when I'm pressing my apotheosis, that kind of thing. This death was not one of those moments. We actually did a pack that I'm unfamiliar with in Magister's Terrace, and looking back on the pack, it was a Pyromancer, a healer, a familiar, which is the mob that like leaps onto people with that non-telegraphed jump, and it had worms on top of it. And this is a ridiculous amount of AoE damage, and if I'm not properly prepping for this pull, it's very likely to cause us a wipe. So I didn't notice there was a healer, and I was really slow on the dispel on my Shadow Priest, and I didn't get the Holy Fire dot off of him in time. I slammed him, I would argue, a little bit too late, and we almost have 3 of us die to the worm AoE plus the Pyromancer ignition at the exact same time. The Shadow Priest did end up dying here. They end up releasing, but thank goodness we didn't end up wiping, and we make it through the pack, even though everybody hit, I think, 10% HP at some point on this pull. So, Custos, he goes down, and then we get to what I'm going to describe as Hell Hallway. The Rune Spellbreakers apply a Runic Glaive Dot to players randomly, and this requires an insane amount of spot healing, even on a plus 13. On top of this, the packs have Familiars, who, like I said earlier, randomly port to players dealing an insane amount of damage, and the Healers, which require a Dispel on the Holy Fire Dot. This area in this hallway is really stupid. I'm shocked it hasn't been nerfed yet, frankly. So first pull of this hallway, we do double Spellbreaker. The tank just wants me to have us wipe Keck W on stream, I'm convinced. I, unfortunately, actually died to the Holy Fire Dot plus Spellbreaker bleed. I do have Restitution, and get rezzed without causing a battle res. Then, with his dying breath, one of the Spellbreakers puts a dot on our Warlock. This would be fine if the tank wasn't already running headfirst into the next pull at the end of the hallway, chaining. And so, I am completely cooldownless, completely clueless, completely out of defensives. We have no lust, and we have done one of the hardest pulls into the game into the next hardest pull in the game. And we immediately get punished and rack up 4 deaths stemming from the lack of cooldowns both offensively and defensively, and frankly, just my lack of skill. I've been incredibly humbled by this. chance. The good news is that our tank is a beast and he doesn't die. We run back from the respawn and we kill the pack. And looking at our pace, it's honestly plenty of fine. Even with the 6 deaths, it's really not that big of a deal. I think a full wipe would be required at this point to kind of deplete this key. Our DPS, even though our comp is suboptimal, their damage is high. So that we got this going for us, even though maybe I could have been better off playing with the Death Knight. So we truck on. We're killed the second boss. Void Collar Trash dies without a hitch, even though it requires really high healing output. I think that my cooldown management here was pretty fine. Third boss is fairly chill, even on a 13. It can be a bit sketchy as we get to higher levels with the Cosmic Sting dot, but on a 13, not a big deal. And then we make it to the last boss with 10 minutes to spare. This is totally free, is what I would say until I go So mana is a weird resource. Some healers, they use 0 mana. Some healers, they use a lot of mana. Holy Priest, well, they use the most mana, and they can actually pretty quickly if they need to spam heal people. So we pull the final boss, and I actually never sat down to drink, nor did I request the group to slow down to let me drink. My hubris basically tells me to pull the boss at 47% mana. I don't need a drink. This will be totally fine. And I 2 minutes into Degentrius. In theory, the boss could have been dead at this point, but like, I definitely should have drank. The boss was at 21% HP when I go 2 minutes into the fight. This is the worst case scenario. I barely have enough mana to dispel the tank, so I need to prioritize with my globals very, very carefully what I'm going to be doing. So I'm dispelling the tank. Then Warlock gets hit by the ball and dies. Then my Shadow Priest gets hit by the ball and dies to the volleyball soak right after. 2 people die, and I am sitting there completely in 0% mana. Then we miss a ball and I die. Fortunately enough, I'm in Angel form, which for people who don't know, Angel form actually requires 0 mana on your abilities. So maybe I should have sacked myself to the beam or something like that earlier and tried to spam heal people. That is a strategy that could have been deployed. I didn't really think of it in the moment. So it's me in an Angel form, my tank, and my Warlock. And it's all 3 of us versus 10% on Degentrius. Who is going to win? Well, as it turns out, Degentrius is going to win. And if you let a ball hit the ground, we will wipe. And we wiped at 5%. Absolutely tragic. Except we had enough time to pull the boss again and time it. Thank God. We were very close to actually 2 chest pace prior to pulling the boss. At the same time, the full wipe was tragic, but I'm stoked. We timed the key. And so I get 380 points and I'm all the way up to 2,087, giving me the 2K score achievement, which includes a catalyst charge. And this is the catalyst charge that I need to get my 4 set and jumpstart the rest of the series. So I get my tier set, where my 2 set makes Benediction summon a divine image that looks like Lura, and the 4 set, it makes this divine image last 3 seconds longer, and it deals more damage and healing. There's also a capstone talent that makes any holy word ability that I use summon a divine image. Thus, my tier set will extend that Naru for a little bit longer. I'm gonna be completely honest. Even talking about this after the fact, after I've completed the challenge, spoiler alert, I'm not exactly sure how good or powerful the tier set even is. I basically never noticed it throughout the entirety of my gameplay. But no worries though, as I now have my tier set bonus and I have completed step 1 in my gearing journey. From here on out, we're basically just going to be trying to push as high as possible and accumulate crests, additional hero track gear, and crafting pretty much on cooldown along the way. And great news, we now have a 14 Algathar Academy, in which my Bear Druid, he takes a beat down in the first pull of the dungeon, he dies to the Lasher Dot, classic. And so we are back into LFG per usual, and we assemble the Degenerate Avengers, my tank, Smacknut, my Demon Hunter, Horsely Hung, my Windwalker, Gawker, and my Shaman Sacrifice. And then me, I'm on Depriest. This group is perfectly set up to time this key. Why, you might ask? Well, because nobody with names like these has a job. And, as it's been said in many a bench comments, unemployed people make the best World of Warcraft players. And so the Overgrown Ancient, it goes down without a hitch. We do have an unfortunate tank death on Cross, but it's realistically at the end of the boss and doesn't matter. Veximus was a little bit of free low. Don't mind if I do, Depriest is coming a long way in the last couple of hours. And I would say even the Echo of Dorogosa was kind of anticlimactic, as our tank basically tanked this boss perfectly. He moved us around the room where it was kind of hard to even run into a ball. And the best part, well, the Degenerate Avengers +2, the Algathar Academy 13, launching me all the way up to a 15 plus 389 points as well, all the way up to 2,476 score. After this AUG, I kind of take a little bit of time to start doing some delves for crests as the reset has just happened, and I can get any additional gear from those delves. I also finally get the last piece of leveling gear replaced, replacing my 165 item level bracers with 250 item level, a casual 85 item level increase. And since I also have my tier set, I will commit some crests to some things with whatever hero crests I have, and that allows me to jump all the way up to 267.25 item level. Easy 10 item levels in 15 minutes if I do say so myself. Out of that Algathar, I ended up getting a 15 Magister's Terrace, which is terrifying. I feel quite inexperienced in this dungeon just in general, and my experiences in this key, at least on higher levels, makes me quite uncomfortable with the possibility of healing this key. And while my tank, he kind of does me absolutely no favors. He does one pull in the courtyard that is not required. It just doesn't make sense with how much damage it's going to do to us. Then, and I'm throwing a flag on the play here, the second pull that's in the courtyard, my tank pulls a construct into a pyromancer, familiar, and a healer mob, and that immediately wipes us, bricking my 15. This play is not allowed. That mob and that pack is not doable. So we depleted the key. It is what it is. And the 14 that we get out of that, it honestly doesn't go much better. In the process of depleting the key, I'm also learning valuable lessons at the same time. Healing just isn't about your ability as a healer, but it's also about who you're healing. And what I mean when I say this is passively tanky specs are really nice given the average player's ability to hit defensives. And most of the time, people aren't going to press their defensives in an impactful moment. And so having passive defensive value is super valuable whenever you're playing with worse players. And that is me gaining infinite knowledge about who I should be inviting to my keys. And with this knowledge, we blast the 13 Magister's Terrace and +2 it. I feel like this is how I've been experiencing Mythic Plus so far. We +2 a 12 or a 13 with overqualified people because they're looking for, either using their bonus rolls or doing weeklies or whatever. Then I deplete keys that are push keys for me. In the process, I'm getting experience, but it kind of feels like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of situation over and over again. And it's a little bit demoralizing sometimes. However, with that Magister's, I finally accumulated enough crests where I can get to craft the first piece of the series. And I craft my non-tier slot, which in this case was the helmet. I also get to engage with the best that Midnight has to offer in embellishments, and this bumps me up to 269 item level. Nice. Out of that Magister's, we get a very interesting 15 key. Seed of the Triumvirate. And I am doing this dungeon in full costume, looking like a real angel. And the dungeon starts and things are honestly going great. The subjugators, which have an insanely difficult heal absorb, plus the Chains of Subjugation cast, honestly, they kind of feel a little bit chill to heal. And it kind of feels like this moment in time where I'm actually doing it. I'm correctly pressing Fate on the chains going on me. I'm using Desperate Prayer whenever I'm in danger. I'm healing the party to full in between ticks and making sure to get the heal absorb off of the players. And we even get through the first boss without a hitch. And then in the second area, the Rift Stalker plus Rift Warden packs, these are really dangerous where the Rift Warden's pulsing AoE in combination with the Rift Stalker bleeds, those can pretty convincingly take people out. And on the bright side, the pull that I thought was the most dangerous in the second section, we elected the Bloodlust because my bozo Ellie Shaman, who told me that I needed to power infuse him because he was LeBron, didn't lust the first pull of the dungeon. And again, this pull that we thought was going to be super dangerous with the Rift Stalker and Rift Wardens, we were able to down it pretty quickly. So 1 Rift Warden down, 2 Rift Wardens down. Then my DK dies to the Rift Stalker bleed. I believe that this is my fault. Your healer was pressing Smite while the DK was bleeding out. 1 Death Strike, please. Your healer was DPSing. We end up downing the 3rd Rift Warden and we make it to the 4th Rift Warden without incident. The second boss in Seed though, he's one of the hardest heal checks on the season with the overload dot damage and the Dark Fang bleed. It's like that council fight and it is really hard. I also run into a little bit of a mana predicament, but fortunately enough, I have learned from that Magister's Terrace a few hours ago, and I will now have mana potions on hand in case of emergency for the rest of this series. And with those mana potions, I hit 0% mana, but that's right as the boss is dying. So I got the 10% mana from the mana potion, and I ran out of mana perfectly on time, which is great. I mean, I'm still learning in the entire process, and I feel like I'm really getting the hang of things. That's the good news. The bad news is, unfortunately, the worst possible outcome has happened. My tank has disconnected from the game. We stand around for about 3 minutes waiting for him to come back, but he never does. And my key, it was literally so clean, and it was literally the worst possible scenario. So my seat 15 gets bricked by a tank who had a date with his internet provider, and she dumped him. Classic. But we don't dwell on depletes here. We relist and we run back to seat on a 14. And I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm still wearing the full angel costume, looking like $1,000,000. And what could possibly go wrong is what I ask myself. Until the first boss, it happens. And if you know the first boss, you know that you're supposed to keep the slimes as far away from the boss as possible. And if a slime hits the boss, well, it's bad news. Except I'm the best and somehow was able to out-heal part of it. I am straight up button-mashing holy words into the party like my life depends on it, and we fortunately enough only have 2 deaths here. And for a slime-infused wipe style mechanic, walking away with only 2 casualties is essentially a flawless victory. So that end, it was really sketchy. I was out of mana, and so I'm sitting back in the boss room, and the tank is already pulling the Rift Warden and the 2 Rift Stalker pack while I was still drinking. This results in 2 deaths because I am not with the party.
What are you doing?
Realistically, I probably didn't need to drink to full. But something I'm coming to realize is that nobody respects anything you're doing as a healer. I need to aggressively type in chat when I'm drinking so people are more aware of what's happening. And I think that taking smaller sips is going to be super valuable in the future, as opposed to whenever I'm at 0 mana trying to replenish myself all the way up to full. But even though that was a bit of a shambler, we do still make it to the third boss, Viceroy Nazar. Now, I've already mentioned that this boss is a truly diabolical boss for a priest. There is movement, there are balls, there are tentacles, and let's just say my healer movement has made a spectacular comeback where I suck. I die to the tentacles, I suck. Yeah, I really struggle with the repulse movement, I suck. At the end of the day, though, it's kind of fine because I'm still figuring it out. And my team, we've also reached the level where they start to press their defensives occasionally. Not regularly, but occasionally. And this makes encounters like these a lot more doable. So we down Viceroy Nazar, even though maybe their priest was trolling a little bit. And we enter the final boss room on Lura with a whopping 5 total deaths on the counter. The timer is still ticking, the pressure is on, but Lura, she stands no chance against the power of Pug Desperation. And even with 5 deaths, we Bloodlust Lura, blast the boss, and that gives me the first 14 of the season and a brand new Bis-statted ring. And I replaced my absolute garbage ring with a perfectly itemized best in slot critical strike versatility ring. And my item level is climbing, my IO is recovering from the 15, and we are officially back on track, baby. And out of that seat run, we roll into a 15 Mysara Caverns, the first official Mysara of the entire series. And I form my group, and on paper, it looks like a great comp. A warrior tank, an unholy DK, 2 frost mages, and me. Maybe not the best blaster comp, but it should probably be fine. I don't really think about comp too terribly much whenever I'm making the group. I just look at the candidates and I'm like, yeah, these people will totally be fine. At the same time, this should be a nice, safe run. It's what I would say if the healer wasn't a complete fraud. And so if you've done Mysara's Caverns, you know that there's a specific mechanic where you have to click and free the prisoners scattered around the map. And by common consensus, I would say this is deemed to be a healer job because the DPS refused to lose a single global's worth of potential damage, and they refused to do anything other than staring at the trash mobs. And as an idiot, I forgot to free the prisoners, even though that is my job. And we waste some time. We're running around, running backwards, backtracking, looking for the cages, while the timer is actively ticking away. But, you know, it's just a little bit of time loss. Mysara's Caverns, the timer's relatively lenient in there. That wasn't the final nail in the coffin. We finally click the prisoners, and we're progressing through the trash. Everything is a little bit hectic, and we accidentally body pull a Hex Guardian. My tank dies, and then we wipe. And then it's over, right? Like, so it wasn't even the clicking of the cages, but it was certainly the body pulling and the wiping of the trash. And just like that, the key is dead, losing the 15 Mysara before we can even sniff halfway through the dungeon. Welcome to the pushing phase, boys. This is where it gets brutal. And so after that disaster, what do we got? We got a 14. And I head back to my favorite place in World of Warcraft, LFG, where up until this point, my list your own key strategy has been going pretty solid. I'd estimate I've averaged somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes per dungeon forming a group, which is fairly consistent with my previous challenges. But for some reason, this random Mysara's Caverns took forever to form. I think I spent literally 30 minutes to find a tank. Whenever I was scrubbing through the VOD, I think it was genuinely 30 minutes. Blizzard has got to do something about the tank shortage. 30 minutes of just sitting there, staring at a screen, rejecting underqualified DPS, waiting for one tank to save my queue. That's not very fun. And realistically, it's not because of FODM re-rolling or anything. It's just because tanking as a role is 1, too hard, and 2, people don't really want to do it. After 30 minutes, we assemble a perfectly crafted comp of an Enhancement Shaman, an Unholy Death Knight, a Devoured Demon Hunter, and a Protection Warrior, ready to absolutely shred this 14. We zone in, and we're moving fast. We get to the first boss area, and then tragedy kind of strikes out of nowhere. Randomly, 2 packs of trash just run down the stairs and get in combat with us. They wipe us, and I am looking at my screen completely bewildered. I could not figure out what just happened. We didn't body pull 1 minute 30 seconds into the boss. That wouldn't make any sense. And so I had to go into the VOD and do some detective work to figure it out. And so I pull up the recording and I'm investigating this VOD. And unfortunately, what ended up happening, I'm sure if you've pugged enough, you've probably experienced this. The Enhancement Shaman, he got knocked by the Kyrian swoop, and he doesn't get killed off by the knock. And in the process, he gets launched into a trash pack that was near the boss arena, doesn't die to the trash pack, pulls it into the boss, which immediately wiped us on 13. So realistically, if he either died to the Kyrian swoop, died to the trash pack meleeing him, or didn't pull it into the boss, we would have been fine, but all 3 of those things happened, sending me back to a 13. And in the 13, it's like I said earlier, there's a lot of ups and downs. It goes fine. We had a wipe to the Gnarlden plus mini boss Rok'Zal pull due to a tank death, but at the same time, we timed the key with 4 minutes to spare, and I am bouncing around between 12s and 15s. The variance has been quite unkind, but I still have a lot to learn in the process. I did get 385 points for that Mysara's Caverns, and that elevates me up to 29 440 score, which, you know, we're getting close. Only 460 points away from my goal. And out of that, my Mysaris Caverns, I ended up grabbing a 14 Algathor Academy, which goes about as well as you'd expect. My tank doesn't gather threat on the first pull. Let's do the DPS die. We deplete in approximately 2 minutes, and we're back to a 13, where we easily time the key with no problem. I get no score from it. It just is what it is. And so while bouncing between 13s and 15s is a little bit demoralizing, we get to the main event of the show. With a bigger video project comes a bigger budget. And with a bigger budget, we have hired my friends Sherwin and Growl to cast a dungeon. All right, during this, I'm going to take the headphones off so I can't hear you guys, all right?
Yeah,
all right.
I hope he pulls 3 robots at once. What do you think?
I hope not.
I'm not talking to you, buddy. Take
Yeah,
your
what the hell?
headphones
Take your headset off. It's us in the chat only now.
Thank you. All right, 14 Skyreach.
All right, here we go. We're excited. We have a 14 Skyreach. All right, so let's go. All right, we got the bird. Let's see how far we're going. Oh, we're going.
I hope far. I hope far.
Oh, yeah. No, I think in a pug, this is fair. I think you'd have to be crazy as a tank to go further than this.
Okay, he PI'd the shaman. Is that normal? Instead of the DK?
Well, we do actually have an enhanced shaman. We have an enhanced shaman, an arms warrior, an unholy
Yeah,
DK.
but like, look at the DK. Like, okay, yeah, I stand by my comment. Anyway,
I'm a believer sometimes that as a DPS, you should be PI'd if you're the lowest DPS, right? Like, he needs help.
like a sort of.
You know what I mean? Like when
Even the
Jamie's at
playing
the bottom,
field? Yeah,
like
all right.
what is this 1% society, man? We can't let the rich just keep getting richer. All right, here we go. All right, this is gonna be a good pull because we got a lot of kicks that are required.
Oh, bird on the platform. More, surely more. I mean, this is a very scary position.
Wait, where's our shaman?
Knocked off. He's
Oh,
back
he
there.
is.
He's chilling.
He's coming. All right, he's here. This is actually a really close race between the 2 DPS and the tank. The tank's actually doing pretty well. Oh, chat says
like
it's a fake pug. Uh-oh, what's fake about it, chat?
Who,
I don't know if I was a little skeptical of the tank, but I looked up his radar IO, and I don't think this guy's a stream sniper. I think this guy is just a civilian. Oh, there's the bleed. The tank goes forward. Oh my, that's a bold move. That's a dorky move right there. He's like, I'm about to die. I need to pull more mobs.
Oh no.
This is not going to be good for the timer, though. They're going to really need to step it up. We're going to need to see some more DPS from Tettles here. You know, hopefully he works in some chastises and some holy fires. You know, he's going to need to speed up this key.
He's got his Naru out. I actually have no idea how Holy Priest works. I'm going to be so for real with you. I have no idea how the spec works. Can you break it down for me?
It's actually pretty simple. Basically, everything is like self-explanatory. The differences now are, so you see the little 3 with the heal icon above his mana bar. Those are basically charges of your AoE heal. So your AoE heal, Prayer of Healing, is actually good now, but you need to get those charges to use it. And every time you flash heal, you get a charge. So you basically, for AoE healing, you weave in single target heal, AoE heal back and forth, but you see you let them expire there. Prayer of Mending is basically just a press on cooldown button. It like has a bunch of talent synergies. Apoth is your big healing CD. You press it and then you do a bunch of healing, and then him is like another that's basically trank.
So
the big thing is Holy Fire is like Giga, and you can press Holy Fire. You can use Chastise to reset your Holy Fire. You basically can do Giga damage with it, but he's doing 0 in this group right now.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so Prayer Mending, he hasn't used it in the last, since I've been looking at it. That's definitely not good. Halo, another great button to press. He is running the Archon Hero talent, which buffs Halo, and so he's not pressing. Oh, no, we're good.
Okay. I feel like you said Prayer Mending's really important because it synergizes a lot of things. Doesn't look like he's tracking it super well or, you know, hitting it.
He seems to really prefer the buttons Heal and Prayer of Healing. Those are the 2 buttons that he seems to have really fallen back to in this key.
Do you think that...
Oh, I was just going to say the team is doing well, but then the shaman goes down, he ugs, he runs back,
no.
the AoE goes out, he's dead again! Do they have a battle res? I don't know, they have 4 deaths. This boss is going to take a long-ass time.
They have 1 battle res, they have 1 in the tank. Will the DK notice?
Will the DK res? He's thinking. He's focusing heavily on his rotation. He's the only person doing above tank damage. Can he find the resurrect here? And he gets it off! The shaman is up! Can he live? He immediately presses Astral Shift. Brilliant move here. He knows what he needs to do to stay alive.
There's no bleed. The shift is going fully unutilized.
Warriors hit by the tornado too. Okay, here comes the bleed. No Astral Shift for the shaman.
Oh, look at it. Yep, prayer healing button. It really is good. No way.
No, the shaman goes down again, but the boss is only at 4% health. They're going to be able to clean this up, but again, time is of the essence here. This has got to be demoralizing for the group. 3 single deaths from the shaman from 1 boss.
Oh my god, he has the death meter open too. That's gold.
Yep. All right, let's see. Any chat? What percent do you want mana? Oh, you know, I like this tank. You know, he's really considering Tettles here. He's making sure that it's okay to pull.
That is a very solid...
Tettles might not be the problem in this key, though.
Oh, any purges? Any purges from Tettles? Any purges from Tettles? Nope. Nope. Nope,
I mean,
he
if
doesn't
presses
know.
Prayer of Mending, I'll be happy at this point.
Prayer Mending? Prayer
Okay,
Mending
here
check?
comes the orb. The orb does heal the mobs. It looks like the Arms Warrior is switching off. Okay, and the DK.
Bang!
Beautiful.
Okay, more
Doing the
dispels, more
mechanics. You love
dispels.
to see it.
Oh, the Shaman is
That's
going
perfect.
nuts on the dispels. The Shaman is going nuts on the dispels. It can't be anyone else. No one else can dispel that fast.
Wait, he's kind of popping off too. The Shaman, I feel like the Shaman really had a moment there when he died 3 times on that boss, and he said, "I really got to step up my gameplay here." I really
He got a
love
chip
to
on his
see that.
shoulder. He got a chip on his shoulder for sure. He's proven himself now.
Yeah, this is gonna be another scary pull coming up. These are the robots that suck, and
Yes.
the tank may
Yes.
pull multiple sucks.
Figuratively and literally, yes.
All right, he's taking
One.
it slow. It looks like he
Robot.
wants to go. It looks like he wants that other pack. But
This
he's just
guy,
sitting
okay,
here.
so this is advanced ball knowledge. So if you actually let him start the suck and then chain, you get them actually desynced. So
Ooh,
if
okay.
we chain, it appears
Yeah.
we're taking it slave.
Yeah, see, this is a classic Pug tank move. It's like Schrodinger's chain. The tank positions as if they're going to chain, but you don't actually know if they want to chain or they're not. And sometimes the tank might not even know. He might just stumble into the next pack, or he might sit there.
Low and steady.
See, let's see, he's thinking, he's moving just a couple steps. Oh, we procced a pull. Okay, we procced a chain there. This is good, though. The tank's playing it real safe.
I was
Tettles
really
not
looking
too much
forward to a
pressure here.
triple robot pull. I'm gonna be so for real with you.
Yeah, we may need to see a few more Shaman deaths before the tank decides that we got to play aggressive like that. Man, these 14s are free. I mean, pretty much everybody in the chat probably has at least, what, 17s or 18s times, so this is just, you know, child's play.
I would say this is actually a high-end WoW streamers chat, so I'd say everyone in the chat probably has 19s, 20s done.
That is true, actually. When you have these like high-end competitive WoW streamers, all of their chats usually pretty high up there, and also educated, employed, handsome in relationships.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Su-
Eat at the best
Subbing
restaurants,
to the
of course.
stream. Yep. All right, Tettles handled that pretty well. Looks like for a bold move, he decided to PI the Arms Warrior now, kind of switching it up. Maybe I like the fairness of his PI, where he's just deciding, you know, I'm just going to PI whoever this time. It's actually, you know, really adaptive play from Tettles, kind of deciding which players on his team deserve PI as the dungeon progresses.
It is interesting to see that Tettles. Oh, he's soaking now. Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's in there.
soaking, but
It's really important that he's got to be using his Prayer of Mending and his Halo. You know, it really helps with the AoE healing. Now, he's not going to be challenged that hard on a 14 Skyreach, but, you know, generally just spamming Prayer of Healing with no proc at all. All right, he did press Halo. Okay, he decided to get it. I mean, he's pressing it in that AoE cone there, but at least he's pressing it.
And if he dies, I think he does have the talent where he gets to be Angel and then res for free.
Yeah, honestly, that's one of the best talents for Tettles. I think if you could, let's say Tettles was to draft a character and pick talents from all classes, that would be his first talent pick, I think.
Oh, you that, and then Og Cheat, and then Will the
Cauterize.
Necropolis.
Yeah, he might need
yes.
more than that, yeah.
These are all good choices. The class looks like it's, like you said, just single target heal, AoE heal, single target heal, AoE heal.
Yeah, Holy Priest is great.
It's getting it done.
There have been times when people say Holy Priest is like the easy beginner class and it's a little complicated, but now I think Holy Priest is the best possible beginner class. It is actually so straightforward and easy. There's still some min-max to it, don't get me wrong. You can still do some big damn, you can still not stand in swirlies. We'll see if Tettles is going to be able to come up with either of those.
Yeah, you were telling me about this Holy Fire spell. I don't know if I've seen it more than once.
He pressed Halo. I feel like he almost sees Halo as an AoE do damage button and not necessarily as a I want to heal my allies. Even though you can see it pulses in and out, it does a lot of healing. It buffs the healing taken from your allies, but I guess he just only wants to use it on the shitlings.
Yeah, you know, he is doing a clean 40k DPS.
I mean, this is a rare moment right here. We have Prayer of Mending and Halo both on cooldown. Tettles has really come to his own here in this key. I feel like he's really improving.
He's ramping. I mean, you can see the constant evolution.
I really want to see a Phoenix get resurrected on this boss. Type 1 in the chat if you want to see multiple Phoenixes alive at the same time.
Oh, the movement caught his eye. Everyone catch that? He twitched his head over to look what was happening on Twitch.
All right, here we go. First Phoenix is dead. Now they need to make sure that they tank the other Phoenixes not on the egg. Because if you kill a Phoenix on top of another egg, it resurrects. They're doing so much damn. 14s are so free.
Yeah, I actually, this feels infinitely easier than his Brewmaster challenge. I don't understand. What's going on with classes right now?
I mean, let's be honest, this expansion is just easy. Holy Priest is just easy. Healing is easy. You know, and that's what the people want, and that's okay. But we'll see. I feel like
Holy Fire. Holy.
All right. Yeah, we're even doing some damage here. We got prayer, dude. Prayer. All right, here's the bird.
Melee.
Nice. Desperate prayer from Tettles. That might have saved them. The bird's coming in. Drops the egg.
Do that?
Did you know, Growl, that AoE that the Phoenix does when it dies actually does not affect players and is only checking to hit other egg?
Yep, it is a fake circle. However, I will still step out of it every single time.
Fixate.
Uh-oh, huge damage going out. Tettles PIing the warrior again.
No eggs revived.
Man.
What is going on?
Yeah.
They're too skilled. Too skilled, key too low.
It's okay. After this is the toughest part of the dungeon.
Do you think he's gonna wait? Yes or no?
Fixate.
He's gonna try.
Can I start a poll? Where's my mod?
All right, chat, who's gonna make it through the maze first? I'm gonna say the warrior. I got faith in the warrior. Oh, the brew is doing the thing. Okay, never mind. I didn't take that into account.
Oh, did he jump over?
Oh no, the warriors. All right, I don't bet on the warrior anymore. I actually haven't. I don't think I've gone through this maze one time. I just try and do the jump over the wall with the tornado, or just ask someone to carry me. But this is a deceptively tough pull. You have the orbs that go out that you have to kill. You have the swirlies, the bleeds going out. Tuttle's gonna have to do a lot of healing here.
I actually think what their tank did here was very clever. Going right actually puts more pressure on the tank than it does the group.
Yeah, you see a lot of tanks go left, mainly because tanks just want things as easy as possible for them and don't care about their group. But, you know, it's good that the tank is taking some burden on and pulling. Oh, we procced a chain pull. We just decided to go forward for no reason. This is something that you're going to see from Punk tanks.
No. The tank knew he had PI. However, did he leave the orb behind? Yes.
Okay, so the orb is there. It's just healing. Oh no, the orb is healing all of the mobs. Nobody knows it's there. It's completely disguised. Tettles, with his only move, throws out a ping on the orb. It looks like it's got his teammates' attention. The orb goes down, but Tettles is draining his mana here trying to heal. There's so much damage going out.
I want to say there's so much damage going out. Halo unused until now.
There it is. There's the Halo waiting for his tank to go to 10%.
I just had to say it.
Yup. All right, let's go, Tettles. Beautiful recovery. Tank and high stagger now, but it looks like they're okay. I mean, I feel like they're well on their way to timing this key. Like, they cannot possibly deplete this key from here.
I mean, I've seen
There's no way.
crazier.
All right, here they go.
The tank has a chance to do the funniest thing of all time, but
yeah, this is a dangerous room where we can proc a lot of chain pulls. When your tank is sitting here, you are scared as every other group member because you do not know what's about to happen.
Taking it every time I think he might do something dangerous, he takes it cautious. Unlucky.
Yeah, I think
but,
he's
he
doing
knows
well.
He knows what his group needs, and sometimes that's all you really have to do to be a great tank, great healer, great DPS, great player. You just need to play for your group. And you know what? He sees I've got Depriest in my group. I need to take it slow, take it calm and steady,
Yeah, when you see Depriest and your shaman dies 7 times on the first boss, you need to, maybe put the,
Fixate.
Oh, okay.
Hit by that circle. That was great. He did a full cast.
Dodge.
Insane.
Defensive.
He's just getting spammed with every text-to-speech. What even was that? That was just every text-to-speech word I just heard. I don't know if you have sound on, but... Oh, it was the chat. God damn it. I heard the chat from Tettle's stream. That was so weird. I'm a little disappointed here. Like, the tank is just playing safe. Like, can we at least try and wipe?
I feel like we have to revoke this. Like, if you want us to cast, make us cast a 17.
It's almost all right. I mean, I'm down to sit here and keep shit talking Tettles until he depletes.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000%.
I got a clear schedule for the rest of my night. Right?
It is Friday. I'm off work. I got nothing going on.
He types need mana before boss. We can only hope that the tank instantly pulls it. How rude, he says.
Too much RP. Too much RP.
Do you think he's a Tettles viewer? I mean, he is on Moonguard.
Is that a Tettles viewer haven?
I mean, probably, right? Like, didn't you see his Holy Priest cosplay earlier?
That's true. Did you?
Like, I don't even think that was a sub goal. I think he just did that.
Oh yeah. No. That's his actually normal outfit. I don't know if you knew that. On Fridays. Oh, is he gonna let them? Wait, hello, Tettles.
What just happened? I looked away from the screen because there was nothing going on, and somehow people still managed to find a way to die.
Did he start drinking while there were still bleeds out on people? I think that's what happened.
Hey, that's good. Healer first. It's always you first. I mean, come on. We still have 7.5 minutes, and I've never seen anybody die to this boss. Very easy boss to heal as long as you press Prayer of Mending and Halo.
As long as you cast all your healing spells on cooldown and people hit their defensives, it will be easy.
Uh-oh, they don't have Lust, so this boss is going to take a little longer than they might expect. Looks like the ad is grabbing the DK. We're switching off. We're trying to hit it. Health bar's going down a little bit. Warrior getting scared, not popping his defensive. Instead, PI. Who needs a defensive when you have PI?
Yep, leech it back, brother.
Yep, here comes the lens
Okay,
flare.
here
This
comes
is where
first
things might
Iris.
start to get spicy.
Oh.
Tettles is getting dangerously low there from just the normal dot that's
All right.
happened 7 times already. Wow,
Angelic
nice
Bulwark
placement
saved
from
him
the
this
DK.
time.
All right, more beams going out. It seems like the tank is just getting chosen over and over again, and this is making Tettles' life a lot easier. Tettles is being targeted. He's being grabbed by the bird. Okay, all right, they're helping him. They're helping him. He is so locked in here. He is not going to deplete this key to this boss. Here comes the lens flare. Let's see if they pre-position. Really nice job from the warrior taking that back. Now he's going to leap over.
Where is he going?
Or he's just... Doesn't matter. We have a good healer.
He just walked through the fire.
All right, here we go. I mean,
Debuff.
Tettles is blasting.
Yeah.
Here comes the next bird. Dude, they're on point. They're on point with switching to these birds.
Whoever, I think it's the warrior with Stormbolt. Whoever's
Debuff.
stunning them, they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah,
Making
this is a big
things
play.
a lot easier.
This is really a group full of team players. Now, everyone, again, you know, they're not necessarily damage players. You know, they're all kind of doing tank damage, but at least they're doing the mechanics. Like, that's all. You literally don't even need to do damage to time of 14. Just do tank damage and then do the mechanics. Chat, write that down.
It's
All right,
it's weird. The timer is better and worse than I thought it would be all at the same time. And
Right.
I have no other way to explain that.
I came to the realization that how easy 10s were when you looked at his splits and you saw he was only behind 1 minute and still ahead of the key by 9 minutes. I'm just like, whoa, wait a second. How is this even possible? And he's done it.
God,
He's
it's too
timed.
easy. It's just too easy.
Was that even a 2 chest?
Dude, he's not
He's
even
under by
3K.
5 minutes.
Oh my god. Tettles. Oh, he's gonna
Did
ask
you get
for
it?
gear.
Oh, he needs that.
he's
He
already
needs that.
he's asking
Do
for
you
you.
need-
Hey,
do you
man.
need- Do you need? Wait, he just typed GG's.
Dude, he instantly left. Everyone was patting each other on the back. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? He needs
Not
that
bad.
cape.
I don't need that cape.
Dude, can you queue into a 16 or
Yeah,
something? What's your
so
item level?
we decided this. We changed your sub goal. The sub goal is now caster key of your key being pushed up until you deplete it, no matter what.
Correct.
Okay. How bad was it?
Not bad at all, dude. Hello? Well,
You want feedback? Actually, I'm asking the chat.
Tettles, can you take your earbuds out for 1 second? We gotta talk to chat real quick. Okay, he took them out, guys. What do we think? Do we tell him? Are we harsh? Are we nice? What do we do?
When he
Oh,
comes back, let's just tell him he's doing everything perfectly, and we're really impressed.
Okay, so lie. All right, got it. Oh shit, how do we tell him to put him back on? At Tettles, earmuffs back on. Chat, you guys gotta stop saying lie to him, dude. All right,
Yeah.
don't give away the plan.
We're gonna tell him the truth.
What happened? Hello?
Nothing. No, nothing. Yeah, push up the key. You did
You know,
a great
we
job,
did-
dude. Really solid.
The chat wanted us to be honest with you, and honestly, you've done pretty much everything perfectly. I couldn't really see anything that I had problems with.
I don't
feel like-
I don't love that.
I mean, you've pretty much fully taken on the identity of healer. You did yell at that guy in all caps for mana, and he called you rude. If you would have typed
That's
in
very
not
healer-like.
caps, yeah.
That's right. As a healer, I'm supposed to be submissive. I forgot.
Also, you really
What?
didn't need that cape.
No, I have a myth cape.
What? Show me your gear. What sort of
Yeah,
good
yeah,
stuff have
let's
you
see
gotten
your
so
gear.
far?
Oh, he's a Lura trinket. Is that a Lura trinket or is that like
No,
a
no,
Delta?
No, that's a delve.
It's a delve trinket.
That's a mole people trinket. That's actually the best delve trinket for healers. I think it's not bad at all.
All right, not too bad. I think I could have played a little bit better, but I also could have played a lot worse. And that Sky Reach, it was pretty easy. Then something interesting happens. Growl and Sherwin, well, they decide that they want to hate watch some more, so they're taking over the stream until I deplete.
What key? What? You're already in a group.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you select all these people, Tettles? Oh, you are the group lead.
Yep. I am always the
Yep.
group
It's
lead.
his key.
All right, headphones off.
All right, chat. What do you think? Are they timing this? I don't know why, but I really like this bear.
2,
I feel like I got faith that
1.
this bear is going to do really well in this key.
5.
There we go. Prediction started.
All right.
You can
I'm
tell a
going for
lot from a
versatility.
tank the way he groups
I
this
don't need
first
fucking
area
grit.
and the way, you know, like I feel like
Yeah.
you get a very good idea about the pace of the dungeon just from seeing the tank. Oh, I love the doe form. The doe form
was
is pretty
about-
rare nowadays.
I was about to comment on that. I don't know if that's good or bad, but very rare.
All right, let's see. Okay.
This is solid. I like it. Oh,
The that was a rep paladin move there, but he caught himself. Okay, here goes the bear.
this is good.
Getting in
Walking past.
position. I
This
like
is
the
good.
patience.
This
He's
is
showing
good.
some confidence here. Will the
is good,
demon hunter
Blast.
pull threat on everything and die instantly? Okay, Tettle's positioning. He's not in range of the tank. Frenzied regen
Okay.
already procking.
I'm not in love with this position. I don't think I've ever seen these tanked here.
He's doing his thing. All right. Now this bleed stacks up to 5, and it'll remain at 5 as long as these 3 lashers are alive. It's at 4. It's about to hit 5, and this is where he's gonna need some big healing.
This is where
He's
the key
looking
gets started.
safe though. He's looking comfy.
We still have GS available. Is he slamming Holy
Yep.
Nova? Oh my god, Tails is a beast.
Ooh, 5 stacks of the bleed. Is it going to reset? It's gone. All right. They killed one of the lashers. They actually focused one of the lashers and killed it, and the bleed reset. I feel like there's no way they deplete this key. There's no way.
They're too good. 1, 2. I actually think the tank knew how to reset the bleed, which is kite. If you kite the mobs when your bleed is at 6 seconds remaining, you kite for like, I don't know, a second or two, and then you re-engage. By the time their lasher bite finishes, your initial stack of dots will fall off. So I think the tank actually did know that, which is a very, very good sign for them.
Yeah, I like that move from Tettles, the last second GS. You know, sometimes the pull feels fine and then your tank just falls over for no reason, and Tettles just threw that GS there anyway, you know? Like, he knows he's not going to need it, and he just knows that there's some % chance that this guy just, like, falls over and dies. Man, this is some discipline we're seeing from this team. Everyone's just stacked up, doing the mechanics.
Look at
this is some gameplay here. We even have 2 people doing above tank damage in this key. Now it's time to pat on the lashers. Will Tettles heal, or I saw a beautiful Algathar last night where he played with a Warlock that banished the ad so they couldn't reset the bleed, and then when they killed it, he just didn't go in the circle and just sat there with 2 stacks of the bleed. The chat was debating whether or not he was trolling or not. We actually didn't know.
A lot of poisons on the bear, but we have 2 poison dispel classes in the key. Very, very powerful.
Hey, that's okay. He's a bear. He doesn't care. Tettle's saving his Holy Nova for when there's a bunch of ads so he can do a bunch of DPS. Oh, nope. Okay, or he uses it right before they spawn.
Don't worry, he's in there. He's in there. He's slamming W, which is a crazy bind, by the way.
W, yeah, that's an interesting bind. What are his movement keys?
You know what? That's a post game question, I think.
Yeah.
How do you move? Not taking the boss out. We're gonna heal 2%. It's totally fine.
ESDF. That is. Oh, I see. He's just moved over 1.
Oh, he's shifted. How do you know that?
The chat typed it.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm saying, how does he know that?
Oh. I'm sure, dude, this is Tettles you were talking about here. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Demon Hunter's pulling spread on a lot of ads. He's got 9 stacks. 11 stacks, and he goes down! They had so many stacks of that poison. They just didn't dispel him or didn't care. Yeah, really nice battle res, but now the bear's in trouble. His bark's running out. He doesn't have his frenzied regen proc. We need to get these lashers down. 29 stacks, 30 stacks of the poison on the bear.
Any dispel? Any dispel?
Oh,
any dispel?
Any dispel. If only there was some way to remove the poison. The tank goes down. The boss is at 8% health. No. He's going loose. The ad comes out. They don't have a battle res for him. Tettle's desperately trying to heal. They just can heal 5% of the boss's health. Who is it on? Bam! He kills the Red Paladin. 3 of them are left. Boss goes after Tettles. He presses fade. 2% health. Back to Tettles. He's running. It's only the Demon Hunter. He throws out the PI. The Demon Hunter has all the ads. Tettles is running. He's in the corner. The boss goes to cast.
They win.
Can the Demon Hunter finish it? The boss is going to turn around at any moment, and the boss goes down. What a play from Bandar.
Holy legendary. Jesus Christ.
And we're in for a key, boys. This is a key.
I don't know how you could have made that boss any more hype than that. That was insane. Down to the last 2, fade, aggro reset, PI, high 5 handoff to finish the boss.
That was I feel like they were so demoralized as those deaths were happening, and sometimes you need a little hardship in a little moments like that to really wake the team up and bond them together. Like you see that winnable, clean, smooth, nice, like this is the highest morale that you can get from a puck. I feel like there's no possible way that they're gonna die.
That's gonna galvanize the team for sure. That's gonna galvanize the team.
Yep. Damn, the bear is getting chunked right now. Tettle's spamming Holy Nova. I don't think he realizes how much trouble the bear is in.
Tettle's
Typhoon just to get the mobs away.
Put the GS up, brother. Stop holding it. Without a doubt, he has the talent that if it doesn't expire, it goes shorter cooldown, right? Surely.
You actually can't take that because that is a choice node with the res yourself talent, I believe.
Oh my, and he definitely has the res yourself talent. Oh god. Oh god.
Nice. Oh, getting a repair. He really wants to time the ski. He's really thinking of everything.
The Screech is doing a number on his group. He's getting tested in his AoE healing, brother. You need to hit palm. You need to hit palm. Prayer of Mending is a good button to press as a priest. Now maybe he's saving it. He's saving it for the right moment. It seems like there's some extra orbs that people haven't got. Oh, I guess everyone but the tank got them. I think they do. They make 1 extra orb just in case.
Yeah, this boss isn't too bad until you get the fire in, and then once the boss gets low and you get the fire in, that's when the damage really starts to hurt. Oh, he's getting pushed. Now, Holy Priest does have to do a lot of hard casting, and so he's gonna be quite annoyed by this constant wind. And now the AoE damage is gonna go out. You saw him. Oh, the Red Paladin gets hit, and Tettles PIs him. Beautiful play. He does not need healing. That is not what a DPS player wants. He wants PI.
So crazy. Oh my god.
All right, this is
Okay,
when the
big
damage is
dam.
going to start to get in. I don't know if Tettles is quite respecting it now. Looks like he is. He's got his Apoth available too. I'd like to see him just press it here because Apoth is a global, so I think you want to like have it ready by the time the damage is coming in. It looks like maybe he's just trying to save it. I mean, his team is blasting actually.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes the Screech.
They're
I mean, he's only going to have to live this
crushing.
one.
Oh, Tettles!
Oh, the tornado! Instant heal.
Oh my
Beautiful there from
God.
Tettles. Just getting used to that whatever heal.
Drunk.
Getting his
Honestly,
stuff on
he was
cooldown.
padding
That- oh,
HPS. I can respect
yeah,
that.
that went well. He was showing off there a little bit.
No problem.
Man, easy
no
boss.
muss, no
See,
fuss.
this is a galvanized team. You were right. This is that. There's no other way to describe it right now. There is nothing that will stop this team from timing this key,
If we don't see a wipe in this next section, then I think they're home free.
or the next part, or the LE boss, or the shout guys before the last boss. Then they should be home free to the last boss.
Okay, they're showing their prowess. The zones.
Yeah, these
Now
are
for the
some
third one.
gamers. Everybody's doing more than tank damage this key. We have 3 participating DPS players, which you love to see when you're in a 15 key. Now
He's
Tettles
taking
is
one?
targeted.
With a
Does he
fade,
have
okay,
anything?
10% DR, all right, and DP. Okay.
And DP, okay. He's really proactive gameplay here from Tettles. Man, I hate these Forager things. I know you got to do them, but bro, they actually do so much damage randomly. Like when you're a Quappy, look at that. JMD has had a death from just all of the Foragers charging me at once.
The healer should have defensived you. I'll say it.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
I'm brave
but
enough. Ironbark, yep.
I also pinged the tank too, just to let him know that maybe you did something wrong. Oh shit, we're getting low here. We're going into the Ravager. The ambush goes off on the Demon Hunter. He doesn't have his meld. He used it last pull. Tank is getting low. Tettles presses Prayer of Mending. His Halo is almost coming back up. They do not want to use a battle res there on that guy, so they're just going to release. However, it is a long walk
This
back.
is bad
Pull
for
is gonna
time.
take
This
a
is
long
not
time.
good for time.
No, and as we said earlier, the timer is quite tight in here. Ooh,
Okay,
Tettle's getting hit now, getting low. Angelic Bulwark proccing. Looks like they have it
everyone
under
is-
control, but yeah, this is not good for time. Oh, the mage is getting chunked by those Foragers. This is scary.
It's very scary. Everyone seems to be more on board with the plan. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Do we
Demon
have
Hunter targeted
defensive?
again. Meld.
Meld,
Okay, his
big.
meld is back. Good.
It's back up.
Let's see, how's the timer looking? 13 minutes. They still have to do the big pull too. I think they're on pace. Like I think they're still fine.
It is
right,
still
no.
a low key. Okay, Surge. Are we defensive?
They're gonna need to kick these.
Surge about to go off onto Priest. All right, nice knock.
Nice knock from the Druid. Here comes a
Surge going on. I can't see. Did anyone kick that? I guess they must have. It stopped.
Tettles has a kick tracker, but I don't know if it shows anything.
No, it's not functional right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty useful thing to have on your screen.
Surely it'll get fixed soon, guys. Surely. I want them to pull 4 of the battle axe men at the very end. I know
There's
they're not
no
going
way this
to.
tank will do it.
I know
There's
they're
no
not
way.
going to, but I want them to so badly.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
that's
kind
like
of want
one of
like
the
a
only-
tragic wipe on the last boss.
Oh, to orbs? Is that what you want?
Yeah, just like absolute chaos where there's like orbs everywhere and like
I
Tettles
wanna-
is struggling to heal. Yeah.
In my head, it's like there's so many orbs out. He's like, I can't stand still and heal. Like that's his exact comm.
Yep.
People are just dying to the dot. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, so there's an important lesson that healers need to learn. It could be an opportunity for Tettles to learn it. Is maybe he dies to orbs and then his team just kills the boss anyway and they time the key. Because healers need to realize that they're actually just useless and the teammates could live if they wanted to. They just choose not to. All right, let's see how much damage these orbs do, or not the orb. Oh, the front one just takes him out. What is that mage doing
Was that
there?
was that an aggro rip? I don't even know. I didn't even see what
Was
happened.
it? I feel like the mage was just in front of the boss.
Yeah, but the tank. It takes 2 to tango, right? The tank can see him and move, right?
Tank's not gonna move. He's a bear. For tanks, when you're doing a boss, that's basically a break for you. Like you're just gonna sit there and get hit and AFK right next to the boss for the whole duration. You're not actually doing mechanics as a tank.
Is that 3
Ooh,
stacks on the DH? Holy! That guy does not take any more
Ooh,
orbs.
that overlap isn't
Okay.
too bad. Tettles is doing a good job keeping everybody healed. Okay, here comes the mana bombs.
Yeah,
I wonder what his rationale is PIing people. It feels like he's PIing at random.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think chaotic neutral is fine. Just PI random people.
Chaotic neutral. What is chaotic evil? Just self PI only?
Yeah, I think that's self PI only.
Okay, amen.
Demon Hunter.
They have a lot of time. Well,
I mean, they need to play
minutes?
clean. They have enough time.
7
I
minutes.
wouldn't
They
say
have
plenty.
enough.
I wouldn't
It
say
is
it's
tight.
plentiful.
Yeah, it is tight.
Huh?
Bang!
Oh, no way.
He's fundamentally dead. He just runs into the
Fundamentally.
pack and dies instantly. They're gonna be short on kicks. One on Tettles.
The priest. Oh,
Beautiful
nice
stop there. And it looks like every single stop in the game was used, and now it's on Tettles again.
Okay.
And dead.
Strong.
Oh,
There it is. Value Angel. Value Angel. Nope, that's so.
Yep.
See, if that went on somebody else, they'd be permanently dead right now. But now Tettles is gonna revive.
Man, the tank is still taking heavy damage. Finally, the Rep Paladin is back in the pool. But you know what this means. Tettles does not have his self-res for the rest of the dungeon. There it was. It was used there. They haven't one battle res. They have some allowance of errors here, but not much.
This is now very scary. This is now extremely scary. 6 minutes on the timer. Can they do a boss? How much count do they? Oh, do they have plenty of count? Each one of the Echo Knights is 15 count.
Great question from chat. Why is he on a plus 15 on day 2 of the challenge? And it's because that's what all of you guys wanted. All of you guys wanted keys to be super easy, and here you go. A little bit of area denial on the stairs. Looks like the tank is dragging him down. You know, I usually like to see the tank commit one way or the other. Just trust that the mobs are going to get kicked. But here we are at the bottom of the stairs.
You say that as 2 bolts go off, but all good.
Yep.
Yes.
Is this enough count?
They're going into boss. It is. Each one of these Echo Knights is 15 count. So this is perfectly fine. Into boss. Look, he
Are
says,
they going to go into boss? Here they go.
If you
Oh
come
boy,
in
he's spinning everywhere. Tettles is in trouble. 18% health. Rep Paladin goes down. The smash goes off, but they were actually line of sight. But Tettles, he forgot that there's 2 of them. He gets killed. He needs to be battle res, but his team is separated. The bear sends the res. He reses into the circles. His team is low. He's backpedaling. He needs to press healing buttons.
Him and his teammates need to know that you can actually line of sight this arcane smash.
He needs to get in position right now. Now that he's safe, he needs to get into the the position behind the wall. Behind the wall!
Oh,
He's running! The Rep Paladin down to 7%! This is Monk-ass point right clock all of a sudden. They're separated. It's like Star Wars.
This is a nail biter.
The wall separates
Oh my goodness.
Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, I think it was.
The high ground? Wait, no, that's the wrong one. Excuse me.
And the boss is pulled. Here it
my
comes.
goodness.
The tank decides. Monk-ass point right clock. One more smash.
That's gonna be the last smash.
Lust is used.
Counter.
3 minutes on the clock. They can do this. They can
if they
easily
play clean.
do this.
If they play clean, yes. If they play
The
clean.
only thing they need to do is not die.
Big if.
Surely they won't die, right? Surely Tettles won't die here and deplete the key, right? There's no
do you
way.
See,
like,
do you see them all
he's
primed?
trained
Do you
for
see
this
them primed?
moment.
Do you see them primed? There are 3 puddles going down very soon.
3 people have 2 stacks. Those stacks are a dot, and they also will drop a puddle at 3 stacks. However, they are also a damage increase. There you go. Puddle drop from the Demon Hunter. The bear looking to move. I'd kind of like to see maybe 1 or 2 more puddles. Okay, 1 more from the Rep Paladin. The
This
bear
is
is
very
looking
good
to get
discipline.
out of here, though.
Very good discipline from the bear right now.
they're
Now we want to
pulled
do a
in.
big move. Big move.
Yep. I mean, the boss got chunked. It's already at 60% health and 2 minutes 15 on the clock, but they still cannot afford a death. Here comes the orb towards Tettles.
Oh, please.
The arcane missiles and the blasts doing some
You have
damage.
it
Tettles
up.
keeping everyone topped. Looks like everything's under control. I really like the conservativeness from the bear here. He actually didn't do a big move. He's just taking it slow around the room, you know, always wanting to be near those puddles.
Makes it a little bit harder on your DPS, but if you can manage it, it is very good for space, because now look at this clean room they have. 1.5 minutes, 30% HP. Let's see what happens.
They got it. They
We are
got it. With the DPS of these gamers, they have it.
We are dispelling the bear instead of the DPS. Interesting choice.
Okay,
Oh,
we
the
have
bear's
PI.
getting chunked.
Settles is locked in. Prayer of Mending and Halo on cooldown. He's doing his best that he can.
Big heal, big heal. We have a dot on the entire party.
Damage is
He's
going to
A-OK,
start
he
to
has a
come in.
PI, rips it. Yup, amen.
He's got a him he can use here too. I'd like to see him just send the him. This is a good time for it. Lots of people with dots. Oh, they got it.
30
11%
seconds. No, they
health.
have it.
This
They
is
have
in the
it.
bag. There's no way they deplete it.
Holy the doubters. The doubters.
This is the
Holy
easiest P I've
shit.
ever watched.
I think it's
We
going to
win.
be 20 seconds. 16. I'm going to say
Against
16.
all
No,
odds.
not even. I'm
19.
going to go back 23 seconds on the timer.
You can't say that 4 seconds away from the boss being dead.
I wasn't even right.
And there it is.
24. Oh,
There it is. Never give up, boys.
this is 3K.
Let's go.
Against all
That-
odds.
That was a good key. That was a good key.
Dude, the
Dude, that
first
was
boss? What the f was that?
Cinematic.
Look at the morale from the team. Holy shit. Damn, that was Resil 15 for that guy, too. Holy shit.
Oh my god, the doubters out.
Did get result
Doubters
15
out.
off that. Holy now that was a good run.
Oh shit. Is
they're
this
asking.
Tettle's new main team?
Is this within the rules, guys? Chat, do you think we can stay with these guys or what? He has to get a whole new team or what?
No, see, it's actually the opposite. So important thing that every Pug player knows is, let's say you do a dungeon raid and you time it successfully, you might think that it's correct to say, oh, I'm gonna go with all these people again. But really the correct thing is everybody that I play with is dog shit no matter what, and I'm just gonna get new players that need the 16 instead.
Yep, amen. Ideally someone who just needs that last 16 and they actually have 18s in every other slot.
Yep,
ideally.
Exactly. The tank is just GG's GL. I mean, I guess when you're a tank and you can just come and go as you please to any keystone on the list, then you don't really care, but...
How close what are you at right now? Coaching from Jack, dude. Oh my god, that's gonna be good. How funny would it be if the coaching from Jack was just him sending you all of his TikToks and you have to watch all of his TikToks back to back to back? He's not even here. God damn it.
I just said right now. What's up?
I was saying, how crazy would it be if your coaching session with Jack ended up being him just sending you all of his TikToks and you having to just watch his short form content?
No.
Back to back to back in a loop.
He maybe watches shorts or some shit.
What tank? No way you got a brew. No way you got a brew.
5, 4, 3.
All right, here we go. Big key
2,
coming up.
1.
This is going to be huge. This is Title's first 16, right? He just did his first 15 and now is 16.
Palm, good.
All right, here we go. First pull. Brew's down to 10%. Throws that GS out. Nice. Title's pressing him. I like his him use there, too. I like how he's implementing our suggestions.
So far, so good. Quite smooth.
Oh, Demon Hunter pulling
behind
front on
the
that mob.
house.
Oh.
Line of sight. Oh.
You can see the moment where the Demon Hunter was looking for his meld button, but he found it.
All right. How do you think Tettle's going to prep here for the shout from the Juggernaut? This is going to be an interesting challenge for him. Especially with the gore on the tank.
He might not know that it's happening. Like, he might just get interrupted right here. Nope. Okay, good.
No, instant casts only.
Yep, smart. Maybe that was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But this Halo sitting on CD is hurting me. All right, there he goes.
Oh, there you go. He heard you.
He's learning. Oh,
heard
tank's getting hurt. Oh, he's pressing prayer revealing. No, heal the tank, man. Holy smokes.
Oh, look, the tank is checking on his mana. Let's go.
Nah, I'm a DK. That's a based answer. Because, I mean, why would you talk to the healer anyway? Nobody cares about the healer. He probably was talking to the DK. Or maybe the mage. The mage has mana, I think. Nice slow fall there, getting into position. Yeah, this is not a route that I'm very familiar with.
I have not seen this skip, yeah.
I kind of like it, though.
Quite good count.
At least it's no longer the Lindormi route.
Yeah, I don't know if Lindormi's telling you to
wait. Tettle's now double checking if he clicked on the guy. He's not sure. Uh-oh, he's going back. He's trying to ping to let his team know.
He will be able to fade. He will be able to fade, and he will be able to mine.
Oh no, he pulled something.
He just got speared. Oh wait.
No, wait, what?
Oh no, can it throw through the
dead.
wall?
He's dead.
He's in combat. He can't click. What did Tettles just do? Why did you run away from your team? Oh, and the fake. Now he's running back to his team. His tank is probably wondering what the is my healer doing? The tank is holding on to his life.
An enormous pull too.
What was Tettles doing? He just
Tettles is still in combat. Bang.
A little longer.
He can res them though if they actually. Oh, they've all released.
Oh man, question mark.
We've started a prediction, chat. After that wipe, we've started a prediction.
I think that's an abandon. We're going fast, really good group. I love the positivity, but I just don't know if I believe it.
The monk said we still time. The monk said we still time. They're still in it. I still want to participate.
Let's be honest, chat. That was completely Tettle's fault. There's no way in a pug as a healer, even if that happens, that you just turn around and leave your team without making sure they don't run into a pole. Like, there was no way that that's a move that you do there. That was a 100% agree. Uh-oh, Vandar goes down again. He gets hit by the swirly. Tettle's hit by something as well. It looks like he's getting speared down. He has the heal absorb. They use their battle res. Tank is getting low. It looks like the pull's still okay. They got to watch out for those birds. Yeah, the eagles that jump out. Looks like they have things under control, though. Oh, Headhunter jumps out, kick the snare and bringing it back in. There's the eagles. Oh, and the Demon Hunter goes down again, and the tank even gets hit. Collateral damage. GS goes on the tank. Tettles is trying to stabilize. They do not have a battle res for this Demon Hunter, though. And now they're not going to have one for 3 minutes, which means most of first boss as well. This has gone from good group. We're going to easily time to slash abandon very quickly.
I think they still have it. I think if they can recover and just get into the boss after this, they are still okay.
I mean, it's not out of the question. It's just a 16. 16s are basically 10s.
16 Mizara, they have pretty good damage. The DH needs to figure things out. The DH has to really look within, do some self-analysis, some reflection. Oh my god, into a Juggernaut.
Oh, and the tank is into the Juggernaut. Tettles throws out a rebuff, re-intellect, really good play from the team, and the tank keeps going forward. He knows he needs to pick up the pace. His health is low. Tettles is trying to heal him. Massive heal coming in, but here comes the roar. Will Tettles get caught out here? Don't cast a spell. He doesn't.
X going off.
Oh, beautiful
nice
Halo. Here comes
Watch the
Hex.
pat. Watch the pat. Watch the pat.
Oh, here comes the mask. Tettle's getting to the side. Will the team know?
Will
Wait,
the
no,
mage
this-
pull? Will the DK mage pull? It
Oh,
pulls.
no,
It
the
pulls.
mirror image pulls the mask. Here it comes. Tank is getting pounded. Here comes another roar. Does Tettles know it's coming? Bang!
Lock
And the
it.
team goes down. The
No.
tank is dead, and that
Only
is the
the
deplete.
strongest survive.
GG has been called. Rip has been called. Slash abandon has been typed by our
Slash
hero.
abandoned. Tettles has been forcibly removed from the dungeon in a matter of seconds. Good heals, DPS, and tank just unlucky.
Wait, I just lost points.
I mean,
Oh, you bet on yes?
Yes, dude, I believed.
I was gonna ask if we were watching the same key, but
it was.
I know we
believe it.
were.
I think it was kind of unlucky. I mean, I don't know.
No.
Which, which part?
Which part? Okay, actually, yeah. Let's hear your side.
I think if they had noticed that I pinged the guys instead of like running forward and pulling, I think that run would have gone very different.
Yeah, but that's on you to notice that they're going forward and you need to turn around.
No. Yeah, you're right.
If that's the case, that's totally fine. But you also pull the headhunter.
Well,
So,
yeah,
like, had you returned,
I agree. Yeah,
All right, well, there we go. We got our deplete.
thank you so much for the
Oh, no problem.
casting.
It was fun as
Of
always.
course.
Goodbye, chat. I'll be lurking in the shadows.
GG's Growl. GG's
same.
Sherwin.
GG.
GG's. Later, Sherwin.
GG. See ya.
Oh shit, Growl is so funny. Growl and Sherwin are hilarious. Both of them are really funny. So there's a huge shout out that's in order for Sherwin and Growl for the takeover. A little bit unfortunate with what happened in the Mysaurus Caverns, but I probably deserved that. That's the second time that that's happened to me as well, where I forget to click on the prisoners. And just as a general rule, I hate typing in chat in the middle of a key, but at the same time, I definitely need to communicate a little bit more as a healer than I normally do as a DPS or even as a tank. And so typing, hey, I need mana, hey, I need to go click these prisoners, that's probably something that I could work on a little bit. And things at this point, they're getting better. I'm steadily improving. I'm starting to get the hang of things where the dungeons, they're going okay, and I'm finishing off day 2, bouncing between the 13 and 15 marker like I had been earlier, where I'm just collecting crests, I'm getting a little bit more gear, but I think more importantly in the process, I'm getting a lot of experience, which is going to help me be more successful in the future. And bouncing around in between these keys, first off, we have the 15 Mysaurus Caverns on the run back. I focus up, I remember to actually click the prisoners this time, and I timed the 15 Mysara off the 16 run back. This is a huge relief for me, getting that first dungeon checked off the list. I did get 29 points for this run as well, and finally exceed the 3000 IO all the way up to 3018. Again, 15 Mysaurus Caverns. It could be a dungeon that at the end of this challenge could be on my score sheet, because you can have any mix match of like 15s and 17s to be able to get all the way up to 3400. It doesn't really matter how you get it. And so that upgrades my key to a 16 AA, which is, this key is terrifying. I think that this is one of the hardest dungeons on the season. Very tight timer, a lot of damage intake. Tank deaths are fairly common in here. We end up unfortunately going over the timer. I depleted the 16 AA, but we finished the key, which is nice considering that I timed a 15 AA earlier. So I get this 16 re-rolled into something that's more manageable on a 15, and just getting the completion and getting that key changed into something else is a big W for my sanity. Algathar rolls into 15 Seat, and if you remember in day 1, Seat was a train wreck, and day 2 decided to kind of double down on this misery. We're moving at a decent pace. We deplete a 15 Seat to a tank death on the Rift Warden and Rift Stalker pull. Those bleeds are just unhealable if the tank isn't clicking a defensive, and the key goes down. Drop it to a 14. We get past the first couple of bosses. The tank then decides to go AWOL on my group, and we deplete a 14 Seat to an illegal pull after the second boss with like, it was a Bound Void Caller and a Void Destroyer. It was like an insane amount of pulsing AoE damage and stacking dots that ends up vaporizing the group. I'm pressing Apotheosis, I'm pressing all of my cooldowns, and I'm praying to the heavens, but you realistically cannot heal through that pull. And so we bounce to the 13, where I 2-chest the Seat, and this really is kind of a roller coaster. 1 minute you're timing 15s, feeling like your healing's getting quite good, and then the next you're completely humbled and dragged all the way down to a 13 because of a stupid trash pull. But hey, a 2-chest, what does it mean? It means the key's back up to a 15, and we are still falling upwards, is how I would describe this. And then we make it to the 15 Pit of Sauron, and Pit, I think, is one of the easier dungeons on the season, especially in Pugs, largely due to the very generous timer. And with that being the case, it starts off a little bit rocky, because nobody in my group is kicking, letting me get my head bolted off. In an unfortunate series of events, we lose 15 seconds, but it's really not that big of a deal. We keep on chugging along through the dungeon, and then on the third pull, the Lich, he's targeting my warrior with the Torrent channel while the pulsing AoE is going off, and what do I do as the healer? I don't heal him for some reason. One singular time, no heals, 0 heals. I let him die to the the channel. Not the best start of all time, if I do say so myself. And we make it to the first boss. The first boss, I would describe him as a medium heal check, where our comp generally can get the snare dot off of themselves, and I should be able to out heal the cryo stomp damage plus Serenite bomb dot. It's going to be more about a question of skill and planning rather than gear for sure, especially on that boss, because the demon hunter and the hunter should be able to cleanse themselves 100% of the time. I have fade and I can cleanse myself. So realistically, the only person I'm going to need to be dispelling is the warrior, assuming that everybody's playing kind of correctly. And the boss, it goes okay. And with the skill that I've accumulated over the last, let's say, 30 hours, I'm able to out heal the boss fairly convincingly. But my hunter calls that he's lagging, and then he stands AFK for a significant amount of time. He eventually DCs, comes back, and keeps playing, which, like I said earlier, the timer's kind of chilling pit, which is true, but I'm a little bit skeptical about it being this free, but can't worry about the timer, especially when it's not assured that it's dead. We make it to Aiken Crick, and this fight should be fairly straightforward. I'm able to kind of out heal all of the damage as long as we're getting kicks on the death bolt, and players are making sure that they're getting the beams cleansed off of their players. Bang! The first death happens. Thunder standing in the ground effect, which, okay, a little bit weird. He stood in it for 2 ticks, and that's not a healable amount of damage, as it turns out. Lag is called again by my hunter. He gets B-res, doesn't move out of the ground effect, and then dies again. Lag is called a second time in chat. Internet shit is now called in chat as well. Lovely. Then we continue to just hit the boss. The boss gets down to 10%. I power infuse the demon hunter, and this is still winnable, hopefully, if my hunter gets his shit together. Then the demon hunter, as I power infuse him, he gets death bolted, dies 100 to 0. So then it's just myself, the DPS warrior, and the tank left alive. And there's a Shade of Crick still available on the far side of the boss. He has an unimpeded cast on my warrior for 7 seconds. That plus the AoE damage takes out my warrior. I probably should have GS'd him 100%, but that's on me. I definitely should have slammed Guardian Spirit on him. I could have stopped him from dying, and that's really unfortunate, but we can't really worry about those kind of things. The boss is at 6% HP, and fortunately enough, it's just the Lumbering Fixation cast, and with that being the case, we're able to down Aiken Crick, and looking at the timer, it's tight, but doable. I gotta rally the troops. I hit the winnable in chat in all caps, and we can time this Pit of Sauron. We're walking up the hill. We got the double grave blades, and I have never done this much healing to a monk tank in my entire life. I'm pretty sure he hit 0% HP even, and I am spamming him. I late GS him, and I think I'm spamming like 3 health bars worth of healing into him in a short period of time. Terrifying. If he went down there, it would have caused a full wipe, and that would have immediately been the end of the key, but thank God I was able to out heal that very, very sketchy moment of time. And we continue on. We kill the mini boss, and it's just Scourge Lord Tyrannus versus us. 4 minutes and 5 seconds on the timer. It should be doable unless my hunter lags out again. And fortunately enough, he's not lagging, although his brain maybe is lagging a little bit, and he doesn't press his bloodlust whenever we want him to, but it's whatever. I'm able to easily out heal the bone infusion dot. We convincingly get the ad CC that we're supposed to. No more kicks are going off. I even heal through the pulsing AoE, and we win the key with 1 minute and 22 seconds remaining. Now, it was pretty close with 6 deaths, but it was score nonetheless. 43 points, baby. We are back. And then I have a decision to make. 1 Mo or bed? And I decided to do 1 Mo before bed. Skyreach. Out of the 15 Pit of Sauron, I got a 16 Skyreach. And this, again, a dungeon that the timer should be relatively chill, assuming that we have enough DPS, and we're fairly clean. In the first pull of the dungeon, it's fairly small, but it's fine. We can hold W in the 16 Skyreach and time it. And with Bloodlust and offensive CDs, we convincingly take down the scary Blade Talon mob. Then, my tank decides it's time to deplete the key. He pulls 2 Dread Ravens together without Bloodlust, without offensive cooldowns, and half of our defensives available. And this is some of the most unhealable damage in my entire life. The Dread Raven AoE, the Raging Squalls are AoEing us, those stupid Chakrams from the Chakram Master is hitting us, and apparently I should have saved Apotheosis from the first pull because what the f is this? I slammed down my Hymn really early into the pull to get the healing amp started on my party. I Halo on cooldown, and I'm doing an insane amount of HPS, but it's not able to out heal my Warlock from dying. He ends up dying not to the unhealable AoE, but instead to the 2 Gale Winds from the Dread Ravens targeting him at the exact same time, hitting him in the same frame, killing him 100 to 0. Wonderful. Now, realistically, the only thing that could have saved him was him pressing a massive defensive, but whatever. So he lays there dead for a second, trying to figure out what in the world just happened. He releases and then immediately dies again to the double Dire Screech from the Dread Ravens. I also die in the process because that is a stupid amount of damage. My DK and Hunter survive with single digit HP. What in the world was that pull? The fact that we were able to escape that pull with only 3 deaths is actually miraculous. I thought that this was going to be the depletion pull because, again, even on a 16, that pull is not legal. The third pull of the dungeon, as if it couldn't get worse, a rappel goes off, my Warlock and Hunter are launched off the platform and die, my tank eventually ends up bleeding out, and GG, the key is over. Alexa, play Mad World.
All around me are familiar.
All right, so at this point in time, I was just going to do one more, but like, I can't end on a loss. So I'm running the Skyreach back. And in the 15, things are a lot more chill. That is until the last couple of packs of trash in the dungeon and the last boss himself. 9.5 minutes to deal with 3 packs of trash that are in front of the boss and the final boss himself. And this should be completely free with this amount of timer. Play safe, big IOs on the line. We pull the first pack of trash, we kill it pretty convincingly, then the tank grabs the Dread Raven and the Solar Construct at the same time. This is not really a thing, I'm going to be completely honest. There's a reason that people do not sequence like this. I get targeted by the beam while the Raven is doing the AoE. Unless I had Guardian Spirit, there is realistically no way of surviving this kind of pull. I end up dying, but it's whatever. We have 8 minutes for 1 trash pack and then the boss. Then my Ret Paladin on the last trash pack of the dungeon, he gets double hit by the Chakra Master's Glaive while having the Blade Rush dot on him, and he dies in 1 global from 46%. I think I could have saved him looking at this in retrospect whenever I'm VOD reviewing, but realistically, it's probably on the Ret to press a defensive. I would say it's about 50-50 in terms of whose fault it was, maybe slated a little bit more towards me than towards him, but it was really unlucky, I would say. But again, this is completely whatever. We have so much time. We have 6.5 minutes for 1 boss. This is unlosable. And when I said it's unlosable, that wasn't until I watched how we were playing this fight. I'm not necessarily sure I've ever even seen worse lens flare drops, by the way. And for the viewers at home, 1, you can actually meld the lens flare off if you end up getting it targeted onto you. So that reduces the amount of space that you take up. 2, the only rule is to just not drop it in the middle of the room. Just try to drop it against the wall the entire time. Those are the only rules for the lens flare. This is completely ridiculous. On the second cast down of the fight as well, my Demon Hunter, he doesn't get broken out. This is the 15 pug. It's like 1 a.m. I actually have no idea whether or not this Demon Hunter is going to be able to make it back onto the platform. And as he gets dropped off the ledge, I run through the middle of the room, life grip him, save him, and I do not trust these pugs to get back on the platform, even though he should be able to fell rush back on. I just do not trust their ability to be able to make it back. But in the process, I put myself in a really weird position where the entire room is covered in fire, and the worst shit imaginable happens to me. I'm targeted with the 3rd cast down of the fight, and I am in an F tier position. Like, I do not think I could have been in the worst possible spot. I get dropped off the ledge, then my hunter dies to the dot because I wasn't there to heal him, and the boss is at 7% HP. And somehow, actually what ends up happening is the Ret Paladin manages to find range on me, intercession on me. I take the B-Res instantly into the beam. I do not die because thank God it didn't insta-tick me. Immediately press Apotheosis, like first global, top the party, and we time this key with 3 minutes to spare. That ending was way harder than it needed to be, and I did all of that for 12 points, but we timed to 15, giving us a brand new 16. And with that, I end day 2. I'm at 3073 IO, 27 hours and 35 minutes played, and I think with a full day's grind, I should be able to hit the elusive Keystone Myth at 3400 score. So I wake up the next day feeling revitalized and full of energy drinks, and I'm ready to get that elusive 3400 score mark. There's no more ping-ponging in 13s, and today is the day that we finish the challenge for sure, money back guarantee. And in Algathar Academy, plus 16 is the first thing on the menu after the Skyreach from yesterday, and honestly, things go great throughout the entirety of this dungeon, and right from the jump, a miracle occurs. My tank, he actually survives the first pull, and we are able to chain that right into the first boss, Overgrown Ancient, and we kill this boss with a fantastic split of 5 minutes and 3 seconds, and we are flying. We clean up the birds, and we're on a roll into Croth, and the fight is going smoothly until the very end, where the raid damage gets completely out of hand. We almost end up wiping to the last deafening screech on Croth, but I think the boss dies moments before we would have ran out of HP. Talk about a heart attack moment for a healer, but hey, the dead boss, it's dead. It can no longer hurt us, and that gives us a 13-minute, 13-second Croth split, which is not too bad. Again, you're looking for like a 13:30, anything sub that, and you're looking great on the timer. And after Croth, next up is the hardest heal check on the season, Veximus, right after we end up concluding with some pretty chill trash pulls. Those trash pulls were completely fine, but Veximus, this is where the pug brain rot truly begins. So right in the middle of this very challenging mechanical overlap, my mage decides to, I don't know, outrange me in the middle of the run. He like runs off to the side in the middle of nowhere, killing himself while he has the mana bomb. I don't really know what was going on with that, but whatever. We do quickly battle res him, and we keep the pull alive. Then I make an absolutely troll play. I get targeted by the mana bomb mechanic, panic, drop my mana bomb circle right on top of the Ret Paladin, and he doesn't die to the mana bomb. He does refuse to move out of the puddle on the ground though, and then he stands in that subsequent purple puddle and ticks to death. So to make a bad situation worse, right as he dies, he's DC'd. So it wasn't an issue of I hit him with the mana bomb. He was disconnected expected, but I did end up killing him off, which is unbelievable. So we do manage to finish off Veximus down a player for a couple of seconds, and I'm looking at the timer. It's doable, but it's very close. We just need to clear off the bridge trash. We have to kill off some of the Echo Knights, and then we have to blast the Echo of Dorgosa. Those are my thoughts, at least, until we wipe to the Mana Fiend pull on the bridge due to being down 1 DPS. The casts go off from the Mana Fiends, and without that extra kick and damage, we completely melt, wiping, and the key is officially depleted. And right as we're running back from the graveyard, our hero, the Ret Paladin, he comes back online. I didn't need this key for score, so re-rolling this key into something more useful would be super preferred considering where we currently stand. I end up asking the group to please finish the dungeon so I can get a new 15. And fortunately, the pugs, they don't immediately leave the party. We clear to the last boss, we finish the key, whatever. So what's the play for the next key? Are we getting a 15 Seat of the Triumvirate, or are we getting something better? And what do you know? We get a Seat of the Triumvirate. And what can only be described as an absolute near perfect run, we flip the script from everything that's happened in Seat of the Triumvirate so far. The tank, he doesn't pull extra packs that we had earlier. The DPS, they actually press their defensives this time on the subjugators, and they clear the subjugator debuff. I'm rotating my abilities like an actual functioning human being, making sure that we're actually getting healing out at the appropriate times. And we absolutely blast this seat, plus 2ing the Keystone, by the way, catapulting me up to a plus 17. And just like that, the dungeon that had been gatekeeping me this entire weekend so far, we absolutely demolish it. It gives me a huge score injection of 20 points all the way up to 3093, and this sets me up perfectly for the home stretch. And with that seat being concluded, I finally decide to buy some enchants and craft some more gear with the crest I've accumulated thus far. And we're all the way up to 271.88 item level. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. Also, during the duration of this challenge, I just want to say consumables and enchants, that has to be the biggest placebo waste of gold in WoW. Like, if you're trying to do rank 1 content, it's probably worth, but for anything that's a couple steps down, enchants and flasks and potions, those are all just wastes of gold, to the point where you can power through most of the content without them. Now, I do understand that they feel really good and potions are quite powerful this season, but if you're doing anything that's less than like rank 1 Mythic Plus title, it's absolutely not worth to waste your gold on that. So next up, out of that 15 seat, we end up getting a Magister's Terrace 17, which it should be doable. And this is kind of the point in the challenge where I finally reached the level in which learning when and where to defensive is quite important. Let's say the training wheels are off, and the scaling, it's there to make sure that I get exposed if I'm not pressing my abilities correctly. And let's just say, hypothetically, I get completely humbled by an Arcane Sentry pull. I get comboed with the Suck, the Holy Fire Dot from the healer, and then I get jumped by a familiar all at the exact same time. Boom, I'm dead. I explode, and I panic, or rage release, and I run back. And so while I was mad and running back, my tank decided that he did not want to wait for the healer, and that was a waste of time, because he ends up pulling the Pyromancer pack while I'm not there. I came sprinting down the corridor, and I barely get back in time to actually save this entire party. I end up pressing like Apotheosis on pull, I GS, the kitchen sink, every ability is getting pressed, all on this trash pull to make sure that we don't wipe to this Pyromancer, that the tank pulled and put the ignition dot on the entire party right as I was getting back. So it was a little bit weird. We do limp forward and down the first boss, even after this weird Pyromancer incident and, the rage releasing, and things are going okay in the 17 so far. But the hardest hallway awaits us still, the Hell Hallway. In our tank, he decides that a double worm pull into the Spellbreaker and 2 healers is the pull. And let me just tell you right now, no, this is not the pull. Do you do this in a high key? No. Is this a pull that you should be doing in your dungeons? No, not really. That's not a doable pull. The sheer volume of incoming damage is ridiculous. Myself and the Shaman die through darkness and every defensive we have available. And at this point in time, I'm trying to assess and self-reflect upon how much of this pull not being doable is really my fault. And I'm kind of just asking for reassurance from my chat, being like, is this really my fault? How much of this is my fault? And I think it's like, this pull is completely unreasonable in hindsight, but whenever you're the healer, you inherit the blame for everything. So my brain immediately goes to, what could I have done better? But sometimes a pull is genuinely just kind of illegal. And the abandoned vote, it flies. I think we vote no, especially with me. I have 2 votes, and so I slam a no vote pretty quickly. The key is definitely still timeable, but we have to put our heads down and have some clean play, which we haven't had exactly the cleanest play thus far, and many people could say it's probably my fault, but that was only 1 pull in the hallway. And so we do the next pull, we pull the Spellbreaker with the Runic Glaives, it goes kind of fine, but with the Spellbreaker's dying breath, he leaves a nasty debuff on myself and the Demon Hunter. I'm aggressively spamming all of my heals, my flash heal, my Serenity into him, and I am sitting at like 20% mana. And this is the point in time which the tank, without a care in the world, he pulls the double Spellbreaker pull. I am basically at this point, and this is a complete catastrophe. We don't press Lust for whatever reason, and we inevitably wipe due to me completely running out of mana. And I'm not gonna lie, sitting on the floor there after that wipe, I am completely demoralized. It feels like this is all my fault. My key is still bricked, and I still have a long way to go. Maybe I can't complete this challenge today. This sucks. unfortunately, in some sick way, it actually gets worse before it gets better. So the key drops down to a 16 Magisters naturally, and we are ready to redeem ourselves. But the game decides to weaponize my talents against me, and so we're mid-pull, things are going okay, and my tier set procs, it ends up spawning that Naru Divine Spirit that I was calling out earlier, and it ends up body pulling a trash pack off to the right that we had not expected to pull. Now, I was way too close to the pack in retrospect. I could have, in theory, have, Mind Soothe the pack, but I was not thinking about the possibility of my tier set procking and pulling this trash pack. All right, so, we went from a 17 to a 15. My key drops down to a 15, we relist it, and we actually make it all the way to the end of the instance, and we have this key in the bag. And then somehow I deplete the 15 due to the tank standing into the swirly on the second boss, which was a weird moment. So we ended up having a full wipe on that. And then he ended up dying to the Tyrant plus Void Caller pack at the very end of the dungeon. And with 2 wipes that are caused by the tank here, we are out of the 15 from a dungeon that once started as a 17. We are now, I'm purely fueled by spite. It goes down to a 14. I invite a brand new batch of pugs, and I finally am able to time the Magister's Terrace on a 14. This is a huge downgrade and a massive waste of time from where we started the day. A player more skilled than myself probably wouldn't have been able to time the dungeon on a 17. The curse is broken at the same time, but it's, bittersweet. I'm happy that I'm out of Magister's Terrace. I'm a little bit pissed that I didn't time a 17. And if I was mad before, I'm going to be mad in the future. My IO, it actually continues to slide after the Magister's Terrace, where we go into the Nexus Point Zenith, where the second pull of the dungeon, this is the most commonly way of depleting the dungeon, a tank death, it happens again. The defenders, they end up stacking up this heal absorb on the tank. If he's not paying too much attention, it's tough. At the same time, I kind of understand not every key is meant to be timed, and, I honestly probably wouldn't have thought about this too much had I not also went and depleted the 14 immediately after due to my PC crashing. Whoa.
I fucking hate Tails being happy.
No!
What a dickhead.
No!
Fuck you, Tails.
My key! My fucking keystone! Which, that is a thing that can happen, I guess. Not really one I had considered how I was going to combat. And it just kind of sucks because I was in a 17 not 2 hours earlier, but now I'm down to a 13, and this is just absolutely brutal. And so for me, basically the only thing I can do is get back in the dungeon, time the 13, and fortunately enough, we actually 2-chest it, which saves me a little bit of time. But the challenge, it's rough. I mean, it is really relentless. And just as the challenge was feeling a little bit bleak, out of that 2-chested Nexus Point Zenith, we got a 2-chested 15 Mysaris Caverns, not only giving me 5 points, but giving me another crack at a 17. And out of the 17, I'm back to the seat of triumvirate again, somehow, for redemption. And so we start on the 17 seat, and we are just absolutely blasting. I'm healing the Leeching Voids and the Chains of Subjugation off of players pretty easily. We're getting most of the kicks on the Conjurers, not all of them, because that would be ridiculous. And before we know it, we've engaged the first boss. I've invited 2 Death Knights for this first boss, and it really should go a long way with our control, as Chains of Ice and Death Grip are very valuable to keep the Oozlings away from the boss. And well, unfortunately, my plan backfires, as the first set of slime contact the boss, unCC'd by pretty much anybody. They don't have Chains of Ice on them, and they just run unimpeded into the boss, depleting my 17 seat in quick fashion. What did I bring these Death Knights for if they're not going to press Chains of Ice? I'm over it. I'm not over it, but I'm actually over it. But I'm not over it. And with this deplete, I decide that I need some more information on Holy Priest itself. While I don't specifically do anything wrong in the seat, I think the fact that I hadn't ever read a guide or watched any priest content is kind of catching up with me at this point in time, and I need a way to remedy this. So what do? Well, I call the Priest Theory Crafter AUTOMATICJAK to get some coaching.
Yo, what's going, big dog?
Not too bad. I'm learning the intricacies of Holy Priest.
All right. Let me pull
I have admittedly not read a guide.
That's tough, man.
And
Don't worry, I'll read the guide to you.
I've made it to 3123. I want to show you a Magister's Terrace. Ignore the fact that I'm in an angel costume.
All right, ripping all the coolies on pull. Yeah, a lot of times I'd like to make sure I'm just ripping Halo as like the first thing. What I would watch for here is how quickly you're sending out your Surge of Light procs.
Oh, the free, yes, of course, the free prayer of healing procs that I get occasionally. Yes.
They're gonna run ahead. They're gonna engage with the hallway.
I was shocked that he pulled the second pack here, by the way.
Yeah.
That was the moment I was like, holy, he like ran into the room and I was like, oh my God. If he just stops here, it's way more chill, but I can tell he's grabbing this extra pack that has the double dispel guy in it. I was just like, oh no, we are in trouble.
But I like that you hit the apotheosis.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And then also, yeah, if you didn't have your desperate prayer there and you have a dot on you, I would just say immediately GS yourself.
I genuinely don't know what to do about this. I'm pretty sure there's a way out. I suspect there's a way out healing wise. It's just like, I think I lack the knowledge to know what to do about double dispel plus spellbreaker bleed plus worms.
Keep it
exploding.
paused. Yeah, keep it paused right here. So this is the perfect opportunity. So looking at your resources, you have 1 stack of Lightweaver, and you're casting that 1 stack of Lightweaver onto yourself when everyone else is full HP, and you got a dot on you. So this is the opportunity to like mash flash heals and start building up your Lightweaver stacks again. Even use the GS on yourself if you really needed to, because what you have coming up in 12 seconds is your Halo.
So you think I just need to get to the Halo?
Yes. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is like hitting every button that you have left, including using the him. Yes, okay. 100%. So like what I would do is I would flash heal myself until I can get rid of the dot. Then I would go into the him if everyone's kind of healthy. But if everyone's, you know, just getting annihilated, then I would hit like prayer of healing.
Okay, so then it's like the moment that I start looking at these worms, and I am like, holy, we are in lots of trouble. I think I'm supposed to maybe mass dispel this guy first global, but he has the bleed plus the debuff. It's so bad. Like this is I feel like it's just a nightmare situation for me.
Yeah, I would GS and I would just power heal him.
Okay, GS myself and power heal that guy. That's pretty reasonable.
I like the micro drink, and you got Lightweaver stacks. So, oh no, you dropped the 4 Lightweaver stacks. This is where a lot of your mana is going away. Like, your mana is not going to suddenly become insane. Like, it'll get better.
You would use these Lightweaver stacks right here?
Yeah, I would cast Flash Heal, refresh it. Like, right after this him, I would immediately cast Flash Heal. But then, like, in this situation, I would be casting the Serenity, making sure you're not overcapping.
But you think that's where a lot of my mana is going to waste, is, like, not properly managing Lightweaver?
It's really right here. What I'm looking at right here is casting Prayer of Healing, not buffed up by Lightweaver, not already having those stacks immediately at the ready, because your Surge of Light heals are missing, was it 18, 20% additional healing that you're able to get, and you cast them faster. So you have a couple of different ways you can just do more output.
And so I'm Oom.
Yes, you are Oom. You are very Oom.
I fear we've lost. Like, I have Apotheosis up, but I fear the inevitable is that we just lose this, right?
Right. So, but here is where you need to smite. Actually
smite.
So what I would do is I would hit Apotheosis here, hit Serenity into yourself, and then take advantage of your instant cast pose during that period. It's like you have it right here, you're hitting those, you consumed all of those, and then you basically just So when you have any sort of break between your healing,
right here after these 2 debuffs fall, I literally should just be ripping smite and just praying to God.
Yeah, you top yourself. Once that damage is ended, you just hit smite. So right here, smiting, because you also have an increased chance to build up Surge procs when you have low mana with whatever spell you're casting.
Okay.
One thing I want to go over is light weaving during Halo. When you have Halo up, you get your Surge Light procs, and you're also consuming a lot of your Lightweaver stacks. But one thing I see a lot of people do, and a couple times it happened here, where you're consuming your Surge Light procs off flash heals instead of prayer healings. Now, sometimes, there's like one person taking damage, like of course you do that. But there were a couple times in like AoE situations where I was seeing either the prayer healings, actually go back 10 seconds.
Is Benediction not just better than prayer healing?
It depends on the situation. It depends on like what you need. Benediction will not do more healing than Poe from like just healing everybody. Like the Ripple's okay, but right here I see you like get a Surge of Light proc and then like dump it into Hog Blast, and everybody else is like full HP. So I think it's right around here.
Hog Blast. What's a Hog Blast?
That's the name of the tank. So I want to point that. Oh my god. But yeah, when you're consuming your Surge of Light procs like instant, then anytime there's like big damage around the corner, you don't really have a tool to deal with it, is my biggest point. Actually, do you want to tab out, go into game? What I want you to do is build up 4 stacks of Lightweaver, just cast like 4 flash heals.
Yeah.
And I want to do like a little exercise. What I want you to do, I want you to spend every single Surge of Light proc that you get when you cast a Halo on Prayer of Healing, and I want you to maintain your Lightweaver stacks at the same time. What that's going to do is you have to find when you generate your stacks of Lightweaver, because every time the Halo comes out, right? And so sometimes when you're trying to cast and not miss any global, you have to time when the Halo expands and cast flash heals in between that.
But that's way too big range for me.
Yeah.
I'm timing this Halo, man. No, are you sure?
Yeah. You want to heal more efficiently.
The vibes disagree.
This is coaching, okay? You gotta get out of the vibes.
I was just in a 17. It's not gonna go. It's crazy that I literally just been button mashing and made it this far.
The amount of anti-healer propaganda you're going to be be producing is insane, man.
No, I think healing is just as difficult as DPS right now. I think it's pretty even.
All right, do it again. I want to see you do it. Build up your stacks. No. All right, fine. It's fine. Just never stop casting. Never stop casting.
Okay, never sit on.
You can only wait like a fraction of a second if you have to. Yeah, see.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to think about this.
I believe in you.
Is this what you think about whenever you're playing like low key?
Yes,
I guess I think 100%.
Don't you do this in DPS? Don't you do this with DPS?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm looking at different things.
Yeah, that's fair. It takes some practice.
All right, last question. Why do I not have that many abilities?
They took them, man. They're gone.
They took our abilities.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you
You
so
don't need
much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, let me know if you got any other questions or something like that.
All right, I'll DM you if I end up having anything else.
All right, sounds good. Later, bro.
All right, GG's. Was he serious? I have to time my Halo so I can stack this Lightweaver so that I can get a free Prayer of Healing cast that's empowered? That just sounds excessive. Who's doing that? I gotta figure out who's doing that because it's not me. Welcome to Holy Priest. Yeah, yes. And at this point in time, I haven't read my talents, I haven't read any guide. I've just been playing how it feels to be correct. But with this coaching session, I learned a lot. And this realistically should help me with my mana conservation as I am more efficient with my heals. At the same time, these changes will not come naturally to me, but having this knowledge and knowing that it's something that I need to work on, this will help me improve as a priest and as a healer. And so with all of this knowledge of healing, I'm excited to jump back and try my hand in some more Mythic Plus instead of the classroom. And so I jump back into a seat 16 and I immediately notice that tracking Lightweaver and understanding Halo better and use a prayer healing correctly spikes my HPS significantly. I feel like I'm doing way better. Maybe that Jack guy should write a guide. I never really know what that guy could be up to. But unfortunately, we have a prop paladin moment, and my tank dies actually 3 times to tank busters at various points in this dungeon, and I cannot outheal that. And so we go back down to a 15 seat, which I've already have timed, and we time it convincingly again. And after that 15 seat, we encounter one of the probably the most interesting players of the challenge so far, X-Mart Water, a mage from the Chinese guild Style. And my Demon Hunter pointed out in chat, my mage is a 99% parser blaster, and I am down for a big DPS mage in my 16 Magisters. Now, mage, that class sucks. But that guy, he's really good. And the Magister's Terrorist starts out, and I am PIing this mage on cooldown. Even if mage isn't statistically the best class for power infusion, this guy is by far the most overqualified candidate in my group. Thus, the PI will be best used on him. And let me tell you, this investment pays off immediately. The mage is doing absolutely massive damage. And things are going incredible in the 16. On pulls that would have completely wiped me days ago, my new Lightweaver muscle memory kicks in, and I'm able to out-heal all of the mechanics pretty seamlessly. And I am a changed man. Except, I don't notice that my Demon Hunter casually soaks 2 orbs on Custos, and he dies basically in the blink of an eye. I didn't even realize that he was in danger until he was already dead. Even with that death, we bounce right back right after Custos. We go do that massive worm pull with the healer and the spellbreaker that has consistently wiped me throughout this challenge. And we did not wipe this time though. Although we did have a few casual deaths because that pull is so brutal, but getting through it without a full release and run back is a massive victory. Those deaths aside, I'm able to heal the rest of the hallway without issue. The coaching is working and I am actually doing it. We make it to Serenel Sunlash where my 99% parsing mage shows me some brand new tech that I didn't even know existed with the debuff on the boss. Apparently, you can invisibility the cast prior to it being applied to you and it deletes the mechanic. Absolutely sick. Haters would say that DK could do this without the long cooldown, but it was cool to see a mage actually doing something useful. And after Serenel Sunlash, all that we have is a few basic heal checks with the Void Collar Trash. After easily dispatching those, we down Gamillis and we are officially on to the final boss, Degentrius. Now the final boss, it is quite scary. I've also notoriously ran out of mana the last time I was here, so would this time be any different? And determined not to repeat history, I typed in party chat and explicitly asked to drink to full before we pull the boss. And we pull, the damage is pretty high, but the group is playing pretty clean. Our Demon Hunter also makes this insane move, barely saving the entire run on that fight, shifting at the absolute last second into a volleyball soak that 100% would have wiped us if it hit the ground. And for me, I pop a mana potion to make sure I don't oom, I stay on top of my Lightweaver stacks, and end the fight with a comfortable 12% mana. We time the key, and I get a fat 33 points, elevating me all the way up to 3156 IO. The dream is alive, and I am officially cooking. And out of that great Magisters, unfortunately, we were not allowed to get anything good. My Saras and Pit are probably the easiest and most forgiving timer-wise out of that, in conjunction with Magister's Terrace. But unfortunately, we get one of the hardest dungeons on the season, 17 Skyreach. Not the easiest 17 by any means. Nonetheless, we must persevere. We get through this first area without incident. The Blade Talon bleeds, the Dreadraven AoE, those are probably some of the most common places to lose players and potentially even lose your run, especially in the first area. And the fact that we made it through the first 2 pulls is promising in and of itself. Going into the first boss, we did have a bit of an angel incident where I, let's say, died of the Chakra Vortex, went into angel form, got revived by the angel form, and died a second time to the Wind Chakram. Not exactly my proudest moment, and it cost us 30 seconds, but we still downed the boss. And since we downed the boss, I'm able to power through the solar constructs in the next area, spot healing that would have been an impossible ask a few hours ago. Now it's pretty doable on a 17. I even easily heal the second and third bosses, meeting all the heal checks that are required in this dungeon. And that allows us to make it to the final area of trash. And this dungeon, well, it goes from a masterclass to a disaster class in a hurry as we walk into the final room of trash. And this kind of starts off with an increasingly common death. My demon hunter had to get his collapsing star off, so he stood in a swirly on the ground. He basically dies just to greed. He releases and runs back. Then my shaman, he gets targeted back to back by the solar construct, doesn't press his astral shift as he's saving it for the next key, and then dies. He can onk, but that's another 15 seconds down the drain. All the while this is happening, the Adept of the Dawn is actually stacking up the fiery Talon debuff on my tank. That eventually takes him out, and then everything goes from bad to worse as my shaman and demon hunter are both taken out to threat as my DK reses the tank. The tank eventually pops back up, but we've accumulated 5 deaths in the span of, I don't know, 60 seconds maybe? And this goes from a dungeon that looks like it was supposed to be timed by 2 minutes, and now it looks like we are going to deplete it. And we pull the final boss with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, and this seems inevitable at this point. And we end the dungeon a minute 13 seconds over on the timer, which was so close to the first 17 of the challenge. That could have been pivotal for me. So after this point, I then decide to craft my 4th piece of gear. That's basically going to conclude the last craft piece I can get. This is going to be a ring. This elevates me to 275 item level. It is a little bit strange that I'm using delve trinkets, but these trinkets were a lot better than dungeon trinkets. And with that being the case, I was not going to go side questing into the raid and waste more time. And so this is about as good as my gear is going to get. Last season, whenever I played my Brewmaster Monk, I did a lot of side questing into the raid. This time, even though their trinkets are better, I think that this is just a humongous waste of time. Also, where in the world is my Windrunner Spire? I still have a +7 Windrunners from the very beginning of the challenge. Even with the decent Windrunners, that would net me about 150 points. With a really good one, I could get as much as 200 points. So even though the end feels far away, it's actually kind of quite close. I still refuse to pug the Windrunners though. If I needed to end the challenge, I will pug it, but otherwise, I'm not doing it. Not a moment before. Maybe if there was a resilient key on the line for like resilient 15s or something like that, I would consider it, but that's about it. So we go back into seat on a 16 because, well, I don't know, that's the only dungeon we've even had so far for this challenge. And I feel like I'm kind of getting the hang of this place. Even with it being so volatile, I become more comfortable healing this dungeon and I collect my 9 points. Magister's Terrace 17. So out of the fires of the Seat of the Triumvirate, I get one of the easier dungeons. Unfortunately, this dungeon is way too hard for me and my group. My mage didn't have a clear understanding of the damage intake on some of these pulls, and I definitely let us die on some of these pulls. And for a dungeon that should be easy, I was completely crashing out over this deplete. Get me out! I'm out! I'm out! I want out. Hate Magister's Terrace. Mobs. I hate this dungeon. God damn it, I hate those mobs. All right, I'm feeling better. And after this, I checked the VOD and the logs to see what was actually happening. And I swear that I will never play with a mage again this season. This class is just way too squishy. I'd rather use drums than play with the mage. I now understand why DK and Demon Hunter are part of the meta comp. Not having to heal them is a complete hack, and mage is so annoying to play with this season. They don't press defensives, alter time is not bound. That spec, I'm banishing it. I'm no longer playing with it. So with this new knowledge, I'd now change my composition for the 16 Magister's Terrace. Unholy Death Knight, Augmentation Evoker, and a Warlock. Now the keen-eyed viewer might notice that this Warlock is my friend Kalamazi. This does kind of go against the rules of this challenge, but the chat decided that I can enact the Jangbi Clause. And what the Jangbi Clause means is that by inviting Kalamazi, I'm actually less likely to time the key, making the challenge more authentic because, well, Kalamazi, in theory, should be worse than the average pug.
Okay, dude. What the f? Come on, man.
Probably not true, but that's what the Jangbi Clause is. Realistically, I invited him because he called me on the phone and begged me to invite him, as the 16 was IO for him. So we're doing our 16 Magister's Terrace. It is what it is. And the key starts, and Kalamazi is looking straight up like 07 LeBron, carrying the corpse of the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals. I press Power Infusion on him on the very first pull, and he is doing absolutely infinite damage. Mobs are melting, the dogs are out, and things are looking beautiful. Plus, swapping off this squishy caster setup comp makes us way tankier as well, which allows me to have a significantly easier time healing. I can actually breathe between pulls instead of having to panic mash flash heal into a stupid mage. And we roll up to Custos, and things are going smoothly that I have time to look over at stream chat. I respond to a chatter asking whether or not they should screenshot me when I'm in an angel. And I respond, that's an infrequent occurrence, then immediately die. Karmic justice, perhaps. It was like literal, instantaneous cosmic punishment for mid-boss arrogance, where the boss absorbs the ball, the angel pops out, and the chat gets their screenshot and laughs at me. You cannot make this stuff up. Now, despite my comedy routine on the first boss, we actually easily heal this key. The Augmentation Evoker is keeping the group buffed, the Death Knight's self-healing whenever he needs to, and Kalamazi is putting on an absolute clinic in the damage department. Maybe Kalamazi is a little bit overqualified for my 16. We time the dungeon, we dominate the key with 4.5 minutes remaining, and the Magister's Curse is officially buried, and my key is happily sitting back at a 17, and Kalamazi got IO in the process. And look at this. Look what we get. We get a 17, the second Windrunner Spire of the series. I'm currently sitting at 3165 score. If I one-shot this 17, I'll be around 3350. This can springboard me into a super quick series finish, but if I choke it and say time it on a 14 or a 13, this will make this series a lot harder. So this is required for me to play well, and it's required to end the series. Now, Windrunner Spire is not the easiest key to heal, and I've basically had no experience in here healing so far. So for trash, stewards and their multiple magic spells are pretty annoying. The bloated lasher and his spore dispersal AoE is really hard. The Woebringer and the pulsing shriek on top of the cutthroat dashes, those are kind of the mobs that I need to all be very aware of. For bosses, Emberdawn as an encounter is probably one of the most healing intensive on the season, just as a general rule. And so those are the main worries of the dungeon. And I made a critical mistake. I forgot to learn from my Magister's Terrace, and I invited a mage. This was a mistake. The first pull of the dungeon, my mage presses Ice Cold versus the Arcane Salvo, then proceeds to press 0 more defensives for the rest of the pull. No alter time used, no cold snap for a second Ice Cold, no barriers. He's not stacked up for my massive spell, and he just kind of lets himself die. There's no health pot. There's literally nothing pressed by this mage to try to keep himself alive. And you compare this, the juxtaposition to my full health Death Knight and Demon Hunter, that class is impossible to heal. Goddamn mages. But even with the death, we didn't wipe to the first pull of the dungeon, which is always a worry with Windrunner Spire. When you get through the first pull, you tend to be able to make it to the first boss in some capacity. And while we do make it to the first boss, it's not before a bit of a sad moment. My team neglects to CC the Dragonhawks. Flame Spit is going off, and with 4 ticks of the Flame Spit, the Dragonhawk takes me out, rocking my angel form. Whatever. Then we make it to Emberdawn, where things unfortunately spiral a little bit out of control. My tank dies to the tank debuff without a defensive press, and then my DK takes a tick of the ground patch while dropping off a debuff, and he also dies. My mage then takes a tick of the ground patch and dies to the subsequent AoE damage. It is a really tough way to wipe, but this is kind of one of the hardest parts of the dungeon. I also learned after the fact, whenever I ended up messaging Trell about the first boss, that actually requires a decent amount of tank healing, especially on the tank buster against Brewmaster monks specifically. But that's not something I would have known without having experienced the tank death. We will not be deterred though. We get back into LFG and we relist the group. This time, I'm officially banning Mage for real. I will only play with Augmentation Evokers, Hunters, and the occasional Shaman for Lust from here on out until I forget how miserable it is to heal a Mage. So we do the first pull of the dungeon, and it feels very reminiscent of the mage, except this time, my warlock, he dies to many bolts of going off in quick succession and to the arcane salvo AoE. Miraculously, we still managed to not wipe. The fact that we could 4-man that pack with the warlock dying pretty early into the pull is a miracle in and of itself. And while we make it through the hardest trash pack in the dungeon with Lust, the first boss is still really challenging. From the puddle debuffs that need to be healed in quick succession, to the intermission that has constant ticking AoE on top of bullet hell, the fight is one that mistakes can actually make it spiral very quickly out of control. Brewmaster, like I said earlier, is also especially susceptible to dying to the tank buster, which I only learned after my 17. So I need to commit healing globals to the tank as well. Yay. I love healing the tanks. That's one of my favorite parts of healing, for sure. Now, with all of this in mind, I easily dodge out of the way of the tornadoes, convincingly heal my party through the debuffs, and handily out-heal the intermission heal checks, and then my tank, he has no issues with the tank buster. Raid boss down. So we make it to the next area of the dungeon, which I've only seen so far on a level 7. There are other pulls that can be a bit tricky after the first boss, like the behemoths with the cutthroats. Those are pulls that can actually wipe you, or at least have a couple of spot deaths if things don't go perfectly and defensives aren't pressed correctly. Fortunately enough, this is no challenge for Depriest, as I easily handle that behemoth. And the second boss actually really isn't too bad. The Deerlick Duo only has light healing every 15 seconds, so it's not too bad. I will also say getting griefed at the very end of the boss, that cost us 15 seconds, so I'll let the footage speak for itself.
Clear.
Dude, not fan. No! My fucking angel. And with the Deerlick Duo going down, I'm starting to build hope. We only have a few trash packs and a few bosses remaining before my Windrunner Spire 16 is timed. We easily down the Failing Sprinkler pull. We convincingly killed off the Deadly Mystic and Axe Thrower pulls, and we have 9 minutes for 2 bosses with 2 battle reses. At this point in time in the key, it should be 1. Commander Crowluck, well, he takes out my Hunter. My Hunter gets ran over by the Bladestorm with the Axe debuff on him right after a Mystic AoE goes off. No defenses in sight. So, you know, it's all good though. We have 2 battle reses and we have plenty of time. So we commit one of the battle reses to the Hunter and he stands back up. We are timing this key. I am positive we are timing this key. It's unlosable from here. And we make it to the final boss. 5 minutes remaining with Bloodlust. We lust on pull, and we are absolutely blasting the boss. 70%, 60%, 50%. It is coming home, baby. Then my tank does the unthinkable. He dies to the wave because he gets stunned. It's all good. It's all good. My DK's clutch, reses the tank, and that's why you bring Unholy Death Knights, chat. So we're beating down the boss, 30%, 20%, and then it happens again. 14% HP on the boss. My tank gets stunned and dies. He could have transcended over the wave. He could have used the feather to jump over. Unfortunately, he chose neither, and we do the unthinkable. I healed the absolute hell out of this Unholy DK. He's weaving in defensives. He's weaving in death strikes, and we are 4-manning the last 15% of this boss. I am spamming flash heals like my life depends on it on this Death Knight, and my DK hits actual 1 HP. I am pressing every ability into him. Please, God, live. My IO is on the line here. 7%, 6%, 5% boss HP remains. Then my DK, he goes down. My tank's co-tank, he dies. With 2.2 million health remaining, 4% HP, we wipe and deplete the key. For a key that was described as unlosable, it was lost. We lost it. I cannot describe to you the despair of seeing a key that should be timed just stripped away from you. And I normally don't dwell on the IO that was lost. I normally don't put all of my eggs in one basket and be like, yep, I have to time this specific key. But this key hurt. While this deplete sucked, I don't really have a ton of time to dwell on what could have been. And with all of my practice in the dungeon on a higher level, I easily timed this dungeon on a 15, get 153 points, and now I'm all the way up to 3318. I still think about what could have been with that 16, but now I'm a few keys away from completing the challenge, so I can't focus on the past. In 16 Nexus Point Zenith, that is the next challenge that awaits me. My previous Nexus Point was a 13 2-chested, so if I timed this 16, it would be about 35 points, a pretty massive jump towards my 3.4k goal. But that requires timing the Zenith, which can be a little bit tricky. In Zenith off the rip, we absolutely cooked the first pack of trash. Second pack of trash, we run down the walkway, pull a fairly tame pack, and it was on that tame pack that the absolute worst case scenario happened. Nobody kicked or stopped the Arcanist explosion AoE, and we just let it pulse. Any range kick can kick it every single time. So bang, the Demon Hunter dies. Then the Serum powers a mana battery, boom, it explodes. Myself, the Warlock, and the Hunter all die as well. The Warlock, he throws up the abandoned vote. I vote no to this as the key is still easily timeable. It's Nexus Point Zenith. Then the Warlock says something incredible in chat as he's AFK in spawn. What he says is, I don't understand how there were 4 votes, but it failed. And so, like, this is ridiculous. These votes aren't showing just the people that voted yes, but instead they're just showing the people who voted. But I do understand how people could believe that that was the case, considering every time you put up the abandoned vote, people will just immediately abandon out of a key. Most people don't even want a timed key. They want a perfect dungeon. At the moment the abandoned vote gets thrown up and the vibes are moderately off, they'll abandon straight out of your key. This is due to the fact, in my opinion, that deaths just feel terrible to have happen. So anytime you die, you no longer want to time the key. Instead, you're ready to restart the dungeon because you have died and your damage is lost and everything has gone wrong. And you're kind of out of that flow. And prior to the abandoned system, leaving the dungeon, like, you know, right click your character frame and then click leave dungeon, that was a lot more aggressive of a statement. So people would try to play out the dungeon more frequently. But nowadays, even if you type /abandon on a timeable key, people will very frequently vote to abandon the key as they'd rather stand in Silvermoon than attempt a key that's not perfect. People also just have no sense of when a key is winnable versus not. And this is especially true in a 16 where the average player is just that, average. And then after this Warlock says this absolute nonsense, the people in party chat start arguing. My tank says the key is winnable, which is true. Then my Hunter in my group just decided that he woke up on the wrong side of the bed and became an asshole and said, I mean, with this Demon Hunter DPS, it's not. So I start to argue back because, you know, I can't help myself. And I explained that the key is certainly timeable and to relax. I also explained that the Demon Hunter is good. Then a second abandoned vote comes up on cooldown. Like, what are we doing? We immediately vote this down. The abandoned system is super troll. Whoever threw up that vote could have literally felt like they were being held hostage with no penalty and just left the group, but instead they decide to throw up a second abandoned vote. Like, what in the world are we doing? I'm tilted reading this back, but like, whatever. So with how poor the beginning of this dungeon has gone, it is miraculous that we actually are able to kill the first boss. Sure, it's a 10-50 boss split, but it is definitely doable. I don't feel great about our timer, to be fair, but it is certainly doable if we play clean. So we aggressively start chaining and powering through the mobs on the right side. died. We dodged the boss from the Herald. I healed through the AoE from the Sentinel, and the debuffs from the Lingering Images and kicks from the Nullifier were both fairly trivial. And before we know it, we're gearing up to actually pull the second boss. I will say, I'm a little bit worried about healing the Light Scarf Flare massive damage amp. It does give my party a 200% damage increase, but it will do, let's say, 5 health bars worth of damage over that 20-second time period. And the first burn, it goes off seamlessly. We don't one-phase the boss, but we do get the boss down to 29%. So a 2-phase, it should be fairly easy. That is until my Warlock gets a Nullify to the face, taking him out, but it's all good. We do Core Ward in Nasir at the 22-minute mark, and this dungeon is timeable, but it's going to be quite tight. And so the last area of trash, we have the Light Rots and the Lingering Images, and those are both fairly brutal. Debuffs from both of these mobs can be deadly if not dealt with correctly. A lot of times, at least teams in high-end groups will CC a bunch of these Light Rots to try to make sure that they effectively deal with them. We get the kicks on the Light Rots, I purge the Flare Bats, I heal the Blistering Smite Dots from the Lingering Images, and we get through some of the most challenging trash at Nexus Point Zenith. We even go a little bit over count, which isn't perfect, but it's okay. And Lothraxion, well, he is pulled with 3 minutes and 58 seconds remaining on the timer. With no more deaths, we should have this key in the bag. And great news, no errant interrupts went off on the ads during the Guile, and we have enough DPS to meet the check. We down the boss in 3 minutes without Bloodlust, and I get 37 points, catapulting me all the way up to 3355. Now this was a massive mental hurdle, and somehow I got over it. And this is why you shouldn't blind abandon keys, kids. This is why you should always focus on how to continue to time the key instead of giving up whenever one thing goes wrong. Also, what in the hell was the Hunter flaming the Demon Hunter for? What was that about? Like, the Demon Hunter was completely fine. I PI'd the Hunter in this run, and the Demon Hunter's damage was completely normal. And out of that Zenith, I get a 17 Pit of Sauron, a key that's pretty lenient on the timer. It's going to be all about living. And with that being the key factor to time this dungeon, I carefully craft the God comp. 1 Devourer Demon Hunter, 1 Havoc Demoner, and 1 Unholy Death Knight. We're calling this one Hero Cleave, where we get all of the hero DPS. Pair with me on a Holy Priest and a Bear Druid should be very easy going versus most of the challenging parts of this dungeon. So we are banging the drums. We hold W through the dungeon and we time this key with 25 seconds remaining. It was close on the timer due to pretty conservative routing, but we never felt in danger, I'm gonna be completely honest, and things never felt out of control. For the craziest thing that kind of happened during this run was that my Unholy Death Knight tanked a Death Bolt on Ikid Crick, and I'm not really sure how he survived, even after the fact. Like, I thought that that was supposed to be just an undeniable one-shot, but whatever. And with that key, we actually leap up to 3384 score, plus 29 points, and I am 1.5 key levels away from greatness. And wonderful news, I actually get an 18 Magister's Terrace out of that Pit of Sauron, a key that while it has caused many problems for me throughout this challenge, it should be easily timeable with the timer itself. It's all going to come down to execution. This is also the point where I decide to optimize my composition. I elect to bring 2 Unholy Death Knights and the Survival Hunter as the DPS. This is the tankiest comp that you can craft that also brings Bloodlust. The DKs in this dungeon also have an insane ability to be able to mitigate and remove many mechanics from this dungeon with AMS. What a good ability. And this is what we need to jump from a 16 Magister's Terrace to an 18 to win the series. We get to the first pull, and this is the level in which we get the tanks to start doing some cool tech. Our Brewmaster, she bursts the additional healer pack through the wall, making our Bloodlust pull a little bit more efficient and making the second pull of this dungeon substantially easier to execute. I make a major mistake. As I'm running through the library maze, I get apprehended right as my tank was rearing to engage the Pyromancer. This could have been catastrophic, but my tank noticed my horrible healer movement and didn't pull the Pyromancer, keeping us alive. Crisis averted. Now, we have to deal with Custos and some of the courtyard trash. It's not a problem anymore, as I think these cringe trash pulls have been alleviated significantly with better use of Halo and prayer healing management. And then, after we end up dealing with Custos and all of that courtyard trash, we have the hardest part of the dungeon ahead of us, the terrible hallway that has caused crash outs, depletes, and many a wipes. While things have gone poorly many times, I think now is a good time to catch up with Jack to see what he thinks about Dupree's performance.
All right, round 2. What do we got here? Dispel quick. He's got Apotheosis up and doesn't burn his Halo yet. He's still got 2 more Divinity, 1 more Divinity. A little move, Poe. There we go. I'd probably put out Halo really soon. He's burning through a bunch of mana here. See how much like mana he burns through without using the Halo, and now his mana starts kind of slowing down. So he could have been a little more aggressive with this and had like all his resonant energy, but he did pace his Apotheosis first, which is always a really big thing because it's the mana savings and the efficiency. See, yeah, he's zoom.
Mana pot, I'm having.
Yeah, so he could have hit his abilities a little faster here, because what you kind of want to do is you want to prio like Apotheosis into Halo, into like him if everyone's kind of safe and everything like that. But like right here, he finishes up his Apotheosis, or it's got, you know, like 12 seconds left, and his on his last Divinity stack, which gives you the instant Poe. So right here, If he
and
just
Z,
starts
I'm in.
popping his Halo around this point, he stacks up the Resonant Energy buff, he stacks up Surge procs, helps out his mana. It's still good because he started his cooldowns in the correct way and he used all his cooldowns. So that's one of those things that like his mana would be a little bit more efficient. You know, he might be able to weave in like the Chastise cast or something like that here and there. This wasn't too shabby. Go back to that Halo though. He rips the Halo and then he kind of does burn. Actually, the other thing is he started burning his stacks on Benedictions on Flash Heals. It could be like all right, but if he started earlier and was using the pose at the time where it was like high value, that would have been a bit better.
Mana pot, I'm hemming.
Oh, he ripped the mana
pot.
He ripped the mana pot as he hemmed. That was kind of funny. He's like, I try to cast a Poe with a Surge proc, then he hits his mana pot, then he hems. That's pretty good.
Mana pot, I'm hemming.
That's pretty good. See, now he has like, 10, 12% mana and
gone.
everything like that. Oh, let's go. Not getting that final Rudic Glaive. We probably would have lost somebody at that point, too. He's come such a far way. So proud of him.
And after downing the hardest pull in the dungeon, we make it to Serenel Sunlash. This is when our double DK comp is so stupid. Having two characters that can immune the glaive dots with AMS is ridiculous. I am pressing Smite on this boss more than I am healing, and there were multiple points in time where both debuffs were immune. Two bosses down for free. Then we run down the hallway, pull the Void Caller, do this absolutely massive pull with this Void Caller, a high key staple. Unfortunately, whenever we were gathering this pack, triple shredders targeted my hunter, deleting him from the pull and sending him back to the spawn. Then we go from 2 deaths to 5 deaths immediately. My hunter releases not once, but twice during the Void Caller AoE, which has an infinite range, killing him off again and again. So he's died 3 times in the span of 5 seconds, twice to the Void Caller AoE, and once to the triple shredder dash. It's all good. Even though this is not great, and we've gone from 2 deaths to 5 deaths, our timer is still okay. We clutch up, and we 4-man this Void Caller. Then we continue on to the Gamillis boss room. Down that Void Caller and Tyrant that's in the Gamillis boss room, and that boss is ahead of us. We've also reached the level where Void Stings, which is the dot that Gamillis puts on the players, are very, very deadly. And at the same time, whenever I'm getting sucked by the tentacle, that can also be particularly annoying for a Holy Priest. And this is a fight where 1 death makes things spiral out of control almost immediately as well, because then you get double targeted with the Void Stings or the Grasp cast. But fortunately enough, we have no problems on this boss. We deal with the triplicate, we down the boss, and we do as much AoE pad damage to Gamillis as possible, allowing us to kill him off quite quickly. Pushing forward, our timer is completely fine. If we continue with this pace, we should be very, very close on the timer, but it's definitely doable. Then we run up the stairs. We kill the pack at the top of the stairs with the fear mobs. Then we kill the pack at the top of the spire. And finally, we need this Void Caller and Tyrant pack together. My tank is taking the absolute most damage on this pull. I've never actually done this much tank healing before, spamming every single global into my tank, with only enough reprieve being the luxury to needing to spam the group from the Void Caller AoE. Thank God I got that reprieve. Fortunately enough, I rise to the occasion, meeting the heal checks demands, and we are able to make it onto the last boss. And our tank, he notices that we are actually a little bit tight on timer. So we actually begin to chain the remaining mobs, the voidlings, up to the top of the bridge. And my DK, well, while he's running up the bridge as well, he encounters a bug, and his pet pulls the Void Caller from down below. This is a common bug in Magister's Terrace. This causes him to get meleeed to death by the Void Caller as we run up the bridge, and this is absolute BS. We have literally lost 15 seconds to a bug here on this bridge. And with the deaths we've accumulated, we've also lost the ability to bloodlust the final boss. I have to sit and drink, and I'm only able to get to 65% mana before the final boss is engaged with 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. It's gonna have to work. And so we are soaking the volleyballs, I'm getting the dispels, and I'm out healing the dots from the debuffs. The boss is getting lower and lower. 60%, 50%, 40%. And as the boss hits 40%, I notice something dire. I'm at 15% mana. This is really bad. I've also already used a mana potion, so this 15% mana is going to need to last me for the remainder of the fight. We pulled the boss with 3 minutes and 18 seconds, and the boss is at 33% with 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining. It's doable, but we have to pump. I'm also spamming Smite to try to get some free casts and some free procs to allow me free Prayer of Healing casts. But we hit 45 seconds remaining on the timer, and I am officially I need to somehow figure out how to get 0% mana to work. We get another set of debuffs. Everybody's pressing every defensive. My DKs are pressing Death Strike over and over again. And as the timer hits sub 10 seconds, I let myself die intentionally to get more mana from Angel Form. The boss is at 6% at 10 seconds, and deaths sub 10 seconds remaining on the timer don't count against the timer, and I am keenly aware of this. But unfortunately, I don't sack myself fast enough. I let my DK die in the process to the dot. My hunter gets hit by a ball and also dies. Then we miss a volleyball soak with only 2 players alive, and what I can only describe as a heartbreaking wipe at 2% HP, we deplete the key. Holy, that was so close. I am nothing but devastated. If my DK didn't randomly get meleeed by the bug and I had more time to drink, we wouldn't have wiped. If my Hunter didn't release twice into the Void Color AoE damage and die over and over, we wouldn't have depleted. It's hard not to dwell on everything that went wrong. Even things like the maze getting sent back to the start, that could have been the thing that tipped us over the edge and cost us a timer. And it's really, again, like I said, hard to not dwell on everything that went wrong on such a devastating wipe that would have concluded the series. But also, wow, that comp was so good. Like, did you guys see that? That was absolutely ridiculous. Why have I been playing anything else the entire series? That comp was insane. And with that devastating deplete, I gotta go back into Magister's Terrace. I am actually so sad. There's also a chance that I hit 3399 score if I time this 17 Magister's Terrace fast enough. And while the 18 Magister's Terrace with the 2 DKs was easy, so was the 17. I didn't play double Death Knight in here. We were a little bit lower on DPS, but our execution was so clean that even with 3 deaths, we timed the dungeon with 1:55 remaining. And now I am all the way up to 3396 IO. 1 keystone away from achieving victory that I so heavily crave. And now I have 17 Magisters and 17 Pit of Sauron on the board. The 2 dungeons that would be the easiest next would probably be my Star Caverns and Windrunner Spire by a lot. Those are the ones I'm looking for. But unfortunately, I get rewarded with an 18 Skyreach. Who asked for this? I could in theory drop it to a 17 and go for the win immediately, but that would feel like a cheap victory. I still would rather try to put the 18 on the board just for content. And if it doesn't work out, I can still win the 17. Doesn't that sound insane? Priest, he is attempting 18s. What is going on over there? All right, 18 Skyreach. 44 hours since the character is dinged level 80, and we start the first pull. We gather half the platform. A lot of groups will do the full platform actually to make sure that the Dread Ravens and the Blade Talons die during Bloodlust, but this tank decides it's a bit too dangerous. This is totally fine. It's gonna make pull 2 a little bit hard, but it should be doable. Then my tank decides that he does not need to press any of his defensives on the first pull of the dungeon, and he just dies. My 18 has been depleted 35 seconds into the key. Wow. Okay, so 17 Skyreach, 44 hours since the character is dinged level 80. We start the dungeon, and let me say, we have cooked on this composition. Unholy DK, Devourer Demon Hunter, Survival Hunter, Holy Priest, and Brewmaster Monk. This should be one of the best comps available currently for my Holy Priest. Our Hunter and our DK were a package deal where they were both actively progressing Bellerin at this time. This should be fantastic DPS. And we easily down the first pull this time. My tank rotates his defenses correctly, and he presses them, actually. We cook the Dread Ravens and those scary Blade Talon mobs, because we have reached the level which players will press defensives. Very rare. I'm also rotating through my Halo, my Hymn, and my Apotheosis perfectly to make sure that we will meet all the HPS checks that present themselves inside of Skyreach. And once we clear the first area trash, this means that the largest hurdle of the dungeon is out of the way. I'm still terrified for the first boss because the Gale Wind knockback versus just a Priest is really cringe. Priest also has no mobility options versus the Gale Winds, so I just have to let myself get knocked back into the correct position, which is fine most of the time, but whenever the Chakram Vortex is going off simultaneously, it can be scary. But fortunately enough, even with this concern, we have no incidents, and we down the first boss completely deathless. I even take some time to take the Q blocker off the stream that I definitely did not forget. So we're chugging along. We pull 2 Solar Constructs in the second boss room, and I weave Purges on the Sun Priestess shields because those pulse AoE, while I also make sure that nobody dies to the channel beam. This pull can actually be quite scary, but with aggressive melds and feigned deaths, plus good RNG, it can be pretty free. We down one of the Solar Constructs, and we chain the 20% construct into the next pack. This pack dies, and we are on to the second boss. Things are going absolutely fantastic for us. This is a smashing success. And once we've made it to the second boss, Arachneth, we basically should be able to make it through him and Ruckram without pretty much any incident. Players at this level should be able to down both of those bosses pretty easily. And the reason for this is because the damage intake on both of these fights and possibilities of wipes is just quite low compared to other bosses at equal level, and potentially even the trash that's in the first area. And like I just said as well, we get through both of these fights completely deathless. So 75% of the dungeon is done, and we have 0 deaths. We do have the hardest trash and hardest boss waiting for us at the very end, but we can play safe. Big IO is on the line here. So then we go through the Wind Gauntlet, and by go through the Wind Gauntlet, I mean that I wait for my team to complete it and I run up after them. The passenger princess treatment, let's say. Then we slowly clear the trash into the final boss room, and before we know it, it's just the final boss trash ahead of us. This was the trash that caused the disaster class earlier today. A poorly targeted Solar Construct beam can actually take out players in a hurry, especially whenever the Blade Talon bleed is on people. There's also the possibility of a tank death here, derailing this entire run in a matter of seconds with the Fiery Talon debuff. Now DK and Hunter, they get targeted by the Solar Construct beam, and then both of them press the defensives and feigned deaths that you'd expect. I easily out-heal the Blade Talon bleed, and before I know it, we're on to the last little bit of trash in this dungeon. A Dread Raven and a Solar Elemental. We focus down the Solar Elemental and its orb, killing it off first. Then the Dread Raven dies soon after. And we are going to do it. The final boss awaits us. We are completely deathless through this dungeon. We are going to time this key. This is unlosable. Except for the part where I do something stupid. Like, really stupid. Like, really stupid. I didn't recognize that I needed full mana for this boss, and we engaged the last boss, and I am at 60% mana. Virix gets pulled. Bloodlust isn't up yet. It will be up a little bit later, but we are just blasting the boss nonetheless. Now, the first Solar Zealot comes out. It casts down on my DK. He gets picked up and he's getting dragged off the platform. We easily break him out of the first Solar Zealot. But for me, my game plan is I have consistent damage that I need to heal from the Scorching Rays, which is why me pulling the boss with such low mana is really troll. And that I must deal with these Solar Rays for the entirety of this fight. And let me just tell you, they hit really, really hard on the 17 Keystone level, so this is really bad. And I am running on fumes, and I take a look at the boss, and he is at 40% HP. I need 10% mana to somehow get me through 40% of the fight. And as it turns out, you can actually heal a lot while being on low mana. Similar to Decimus, the boss drops to 30%, Bloodlust gets pressed, and we accelerate to 20% on the boss, 15% HP on the boss. And this is the moment in time where I hit true 0 mana. What do I do this time? I actually sack myself for the first death in the dungeon. In Angel form, it gives me 15 seconds of 0 mana cost. And by the time I revive, I already have the victory screen on screen. 31 points from the 17 Skyreach, skyrocketing me up to 3427 IO, well past the 3400 threshold that I needed. Victory. 1 day, 21 hours, 8 minutes, 3427 IO, all the way up to 276.31 item level. And for me, I started this challenge trying to answer the age-old question about whether or not healers are boosted. And over the course of this challenge, I've discovered that healing, in my opinion, is about the same difficulty as DPS. We're all getting carried by the tank realistically. And what I mean when I say this is that healing has more peaks and valleys in terms of difficulty, and healers have moments in time where literally nothing is happening, and literally some moments in time where they make you want to pull your hair out with how difficult the challenge can be. And for DPS, I would say that the difficulty is largely more gradual. We're optimizing DPS and paying attention to things like kicks and CC. That can actually be a little bit more mental strain the entire time, but I think both of these roles are about the same difficulty overall. I did also notice in the process that bad players were just way harder to heal than good players. There was also a point in time where I stopped doing 13s and started doing 16s and 17s, and the damage intake from players went down, even though the key level went up so significantly, and that was just due to well-timed defensive usage, because defensives are just so OP. And throughout the entirety of this challenge, I actually found healing to be quite fun. Now, people might notice throughout the entirety of this challenge that I did basically 0 DPS, only doing about 10,000 DPS and power infusing on cooldown. And this is just to prove to all the aspiring healers out there that healer damage is only relevant for healer players to look at on the meter after the fact. Nobody in the entirety of the series mentioned healer damage to me at all. Instead, they just took my 10,000 DPS, go, yeah, that looks about right. And they saw me PIing on cooldown, and they saw me buffing fortitude, and they're like, yep, this is completely reasonable. So healer DPS is just a myth, except for whenever you're trying to win an MDI, which in that case, then it's real. Even though I've concluded the challenge, I got one final challenge in me. I timed that 17 Skyreach, and out of it, I actually got a seat 18. I've come too far, suffered too much trauma in seat, and learned too much from Jack just to completely log off. I want to put my priest to the ultimate test and run this seat on an 18 to see just how far the priest truly has come. And I'm down to kind of take whoever signs up to the group. And we end up with my favorite composition of the series so far. Brewmaster Monk, Unholy Death Knight, Devour Demon Hunter, and a Beast Mastery Hunter. And seat, it has a tendency to wipe me on the first couple of pulls with the subjugators, but I feel way more comfortable now than I have all series. On the first pull of the dungeon, we slam Lust, we pull 2 subjugators, I fade every time the chains of subjugation go out onto me, reducing my damage taken significantly. The rest of the party also clears their chains. Myself and the DK then get the Leeching Void debuff, and I insta-clear both of them off of us with my Apotheosis Empowered Healing. And so this allows us to clear the first 2 subjugators without incident. We chain into the next subjugator, my Hunter gets hit by the Leeching Void after the chains, and I cannot help him get top before he ticks out. I think he realistically should have pressed a defensive here, and I think with more well-timed heals, I probably should have been able to heal that, but realistically, he just has to have a defensive on him versus that Leeching Void. Then we kill off the 3rd subjugator, chain into the 4th subjugator, down that one as well, and we are on to the first boss. I've also made a little bit of a talent adaptation for the first boss here that I hadn't known about up until this exact point. I've talented into Dominate Mind, and what this does is it allows me to mind control and take a slime straight into the boss. Normally, if a slime contacts the boss, it just puts a massive dot on you that's unhealable, and you immediately wipe. But if it's under the effects of Dominate Mind or Mind Control, and we take it straight into the boss, we don't take the dot from it, and meaning that we don't have to kite or kill this slime, which is super, super OP. And with this tech, we pretty comfortably kill off the first boss without a hitch. Then we make it to the first Rift Warden with 2 Riststalkers. And honestly, it kind of exposes me a little bit. Myself and the Demon Hunter died with a pulsing AoE plus bleed combo before I could top us. I likely should have saved a major healing cooldown for this from the first boss, but I didn't consider how hard it was going to hit. This was something that like you probably are supposed to do the first boss without utilizing any of your healing CDs, just so you can make sure that you have everything available for this mini boss, but I never really thought about it. And even with that minor hiccup, things are largely going okay. We do accumulate another death due to a Conjurer Bolt going off on my Hunter, taking him out during the Riftborn AoE, but we make it to the second boss, and things are certainly doable. I'm healing the AoE, I'm healing the bleed, and I'm doing this dungeon on a plus 18 keystone level. This is absolutely doable. That is, until on the second boss, I inevitably go again. And there's no limping over the finish line with the Seat Council fight. As I quickly go we quickly wipe. It is a little bit poetic that on the 18, it gets depleted based on my mana bar, I guess. Holy Priest, for some reason, just uses so much mana. And that concludes the challenge. Even though I wanted to try that seed on that 18, I actually felt like it was pretty reasonably doable. With another couple of attempts, I could see myself actually healing that dungeon as high up as an 18. And so for you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video series. I also have to give a huge shout out to AUTOMATICJAK for the Saving Grace coaching session. Also a massive thank you to Sherwin, Growl, and Kalamazi for the incredible guest appearances and the dungeon takeovers at various points in time. That was super sick. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure you check out all the links down in the description. Make sure you subscribe to either me on Twitch or on Patreon if you really enjoyed the content, because this helps me fund videos like this in the future. And if you enjoyed the Zero to Hero journey, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down in the comments below what class we should take from Zero to Hero next season. Until next time, GG's.